Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Aso, this is Aso Tarot, and in today's Pick a Cute Animal reading, we are going to be looking at what you need to know right now, and specifically what you need to know about yourself. So this is going to be an opportunity to kind of have a self check-in and see like how accurate you are in terms of what you need, because sometimes we think we need something when in reality we need something else. So what I'm going to be doing today is we're going to start by using the oracle deck that you choose. We'll get into that to see what you need to know most. And if you're like, I don't need to know this is not relevant to me, I would try a different group. But if you resonate with it, then congrats, you have found your group. And then I'm going to use the tarot deck that you chose. And we're going to look at what your body needs, what your mind needs, what your heart needs, and what your spirit needs, and just see what is going to come through there. And then we're going to take guidance cards. I have two separate guidance decks, and we're going to use the guidance cards to get some guidance on how you can meet each of your core needs or these different aspects of self. And then we will finish off with some final guidance with this really cute deck called the Wings of Wisdom, and it has like a little affirmation and guidance on the back. So that will be kind of your final guidance to close everything out. I am hoping that this will be a great opportunity to just get in touch with yourself and make sure that, you know, all of your needs are being met, and if they're not, how you can, and hopefully let go as well of some maybe unnecessary shoulds or unnecessary belief systems about what you think you should be doing, so we can replace it with what you actually need and help you care for yourself. So we have 4 different little animal erasers to choose from. I am hoping they will erase any bad vibes that you may be dealing with internally or externally. If not, at least they're so stinking cute. And then underneath them, I have the tarot decks and the oracle deck that I'm using for each group. If you're unsure of how to choose, I would start with the animal that you're most drawn to, but if they're too cute and that's too challenging for you, then I would go based on the decks. So with that being said, starting with group number 1, we have this little horse. I named him Lenny, and we are going to be using the Naked Heart Tarot and the Work Your Light Oracle deck. And then for group number 2, we have this little kangaroo eraser. I named her Kelly, and I named her baby little Ricky. And underneath Kelly and Ricky, we have the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot deck and the You Are Here Oracle. And then for group number 3, we have this little giraffe eraser. I named her Gertrude, but you can call her Gertie. And underneath Gertie, we have the Synesthesia Tarot and the Energy Oracle deck. And then finally for group number 4, we have this little elephant eraser. I named him Elmer. Underneath Elmer, we have the Wild Unknown Tarot, and I believe it's called the Light Code Luminary Oracle. And if you're like, why is Elmer's trunk weird? It's because he's got a little smile, and you can't see his smile if it's like straight down. He looks super serial, super serious with his trunk down, and I just want y'all to know he's smiling under there. But with that being said, feel free to take your time picking your pile or piles. It's also absolutely possible there could be more than one group for you. So if you feel drawn to more than one, feel free to check out more than one. This is just about you getting in touch with yourself and figuring out what you need, or lack thereof, what you don't need, so that you can be more focused, less scattered, more loving to yourself, and less critical of yourself. But once you picked your group or groups, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box or the comment section, where I will have all the timestamps listed down below. But now we have our little Make-A-Wish section, and I am not going to lie, your girl is running low on candles. I need to use code ASO10 for 10% off on my candle line, but today we are going to be using the Banish candle. I felt like it was a good vibe for today. I love this candle, and even though it's not part of my line, it is still good. Like you can use the Angelic Magic 888, or you can use code ASO10 for 10% off any candles on Angelic Magic 888 site. But this is the banish candle. So I wanted to give you the opportunity, if there's anything you want to banish, any energies, any belief systems, any aspects of self, whatever comes to mind, that's what we're focusing our Make-A-Wish on. But you can make a wish on anything. You could banish the blockages that are keeping your wish from coming true. Really whatever you want, but I promise it's a lot prettier when you first open it. As you can tell, I've already been using it. But if you want to just take a second and just think about what you would like to banish, what you would like to make a wish for, please feel free to do that. Sounds like that person could banish some negativity, am I right? Okay. May these things be banished, and may yours, mine, and all of our wishes come true for the highest good of all beings. So that being said, like I said earlier, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box or the comment section where I will have all the timestamps listed, and I will see you in your reading. Hi there, Pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose little Lenny the horse, then this is going to be your reading on what you need to know right now. So we're going to shuffle the tarot in a second, but I'm going to start by shuffling your oracle card. The oracle deck you chose is the Work Your Light Oracle. And essentially, I'm going to shuffle this card to see what it is you need to know most. And then we're going to dive deeper with the tarot. If you want a full breakdown of the reading, there is one in the intro. I'm actually a little bit worried about having Lenny so close to the fire, so we're just going to keep him right there. But if this card does not resonate at all and you're like, no, this is not what I need to know, this is not relevant to me, I would try a different group. Okay. So, my beloved group number 1, Spirit, what do they need to know at this time for their highest good? Why were they brought to this reading? What do they need to know most? Okay. Let us have a look-see. Wow. Okay, I butcher this word all the time, so I'm gonna need you to give me some grace. But Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. So, hey, Pile 1, I think that we are part of the same soul group. Soul groups can be very big. Who knows, maybe we were hanging out, chilling in Pleiadian consciousness together. This is very significant to have this card come out, and I am actually going to read it from the book, just because I don't want to butcher anything, at least not as much as the names. But this reading and this card came to you because I think you know this. You have a mission here. Not only is it one of self-discovery and being a part of Earth, but to also uplift others. Channeling is what I do. Maybe you're guided to do something like this, which please do. We can never have too many readers out there, but also there are a million zillion ways to channel. Think of any musician where they just have like this eloquent lyricism where you're like, wow. Like sometimes when I hear certain musicians, I'm like, and I know they write their songs, I'm like, I wonder if they were channeling when they were doing that. Channeling can happen in any process. But one thing that I am hearing is that your channel may be opening more, so you maybe have experiencing more psychic phenomena and things like that. The one important thing I will say is if you are not like doing well mentally, and it's at a place where it is difficult for you to be discerning or know what the truth is, maybe try to seek help or do what you can to get support for that, because we don't want any spiritual psychosis or anything like that happening. I don't think that you are in danger of that, but I do feel it is important. Like if you're very particularly like ungrounded or in a bad state of mind, like experiencing psychic phenomena can have a very intense impact and an unnecessary impact. But I don't think that's why you're here. I just want to make sure, like, if anyone is here, they may have needed that message and may need to, you know, do what they can to seek help. But I don't think that is necessarily your message. I'm just covering my bases. So I want to look at what this says about Pleiades. Okay. The Pleiadians are a group of star beings dedicated to raising the vibration of the planet and sharing new consciousness through creations and technology. They have been, so you could even channel through like programming. I don't know how you would do that. I'm not a programming type person. I'm not very great with tech, but like you can do literally, you can channel and do anything. You could just be vibing and be channeling. That's actually kind of like one of the best ways to do it. They have been, I can't talk. They have been incarnating on Earth since near the beginning of humanity. You are a soul who has a double mission, to grow at a soul level and to raise the vibration of the planet. If you've been called to write, speak, or channel, this is your sign to keep doing it. Your work is divinely guided. Of all the souls, Pleiadians are the chattiest, and so perhaps you've already started channeling and doing some of this work into the third dimension. Thank you for doing your part in the great plan. Your presence and unique light is needed. So we can do a little transmission together really quickly. So obviously you can't hold the card on your heart, but if you just want to like place your hand on mine on the screen, or just like intend that you are getting this message, you can repeat after me. I call upon Pleiadian consciousness of the highest realms and the highest good of humanity to work through me. Let me be a channel for only the purest light of the essence of Source. Let me channel in a way that also serves me. So it is. So the Pleiadians must be with us at this time, and this could be a confirmation for some of you that maybe you've been looking for soul origins, star origins. I'm a big proponent of like not taking these experiences of consciousness as an identity, though you're certainly allowed to have one. I just like to say I think that I've had consciousness in a lot of different places, the Pleiades being one of them, but you clearly do too. And this is a message for you. Like, what you need to know most is that you're not crazy and feeling like you have a greater mission here, and you're not crazy and feeling like you're not crazy and feeling crazy. But the more sane you feel and the deeper you come into your truth, the crazier you might feel. And if you don't know how you are meant to share yourself with the world, share your channeling abilities, I think that you will be led to them. I also think one powerful source of confirmation that this message could be for you is if in the recent past, or if this is just a trend for you, you tend to say the right things to people or tend to tell people things that they need to hear without even realizing it. But I also think that there's just a really clear message here that not only do your words matter, but you matter, your message matters, and your authenticity matters. If you've already been putting your work into the world in some way, I feel like this is confirmation that not only are you having an impact, but your star brothers and sisters are watching over you and so happy for you and guiding and protecting you. And they just want you to know that despite what your linear mind may think, you are having an impact. And I think that if you are unsure of the impact you want to have or unsure of how to do this, like if you're not currently channeling in some way, shape, or form yet, I feel like there is an opportunity here for you to just step into your own authenticity and trust that the most intuitive forms of flow will be how you get your channeling game started. You don't need to be a reader in order to channel. Like I said, you can do that in so many different ways, and everybody has their own unique essence to bring to the table. And your unique essence is perfect for whatever you fall into. So what I'm going to do now, as I let go of this burp, is I'm going to pull a card for what your body needs at this time, what your mind needs at this time, what your heart needs at this time, and what your spirit needs at this time. So hopefully this will be beneficial and useful. And thank you to anyone who takes the time to leave me a little like. This is a super, super helpful way to support me, my channel, and help others see this video. So if you want to help me in any way, that's a great way. Thank you to everyone who does that. But pile 1, Spirit, what does their body need at this time, please? What does their body need in order to be aligned with their highest good and the highest good of all beings, please? Just pile 1's body need. Okay. We have the 7 of Pentacles. And it's really interesting that like it took so long for that to come out. I already want to get going. So I'm like, okay, let me shuffle these first and then we'll start. What does pile 1, what does their mind need at this time for their highest good? Okay, we're going to leave that face down. What does pile 1's heart need at this time, their emotional body? And what does their spirit need? Okay. So spirit came out really, really, really fast. Okay. And I just want to make sure in case I need it, I'm going to grab the book of this deck. This is the Naked Heart Tarot, in case you're wondering. Just in case I feel called to. But let's start with your body. So the biggest thing your body needs right now is patience and trust in its own wisdom. There may be times where you like mentally really want to move forward, or you have this drive like I should be getting more done, or I should have more energy, and you just don't. What your body is really asking for is patience and gentleness. There is oh shit, can you actually see? Okay, yeah, I was like, I don't want to film this and then realize some of the cards are cut off. But this 7 of Pentacles is really telling me that your body needs you to be patient with the changes it's going through. It might be that you're experiencing different energy levels than normal. Maybe you're craving different types of food, or maybe you're just needing more rest than you typically do. I would not be shocked if you're going through some sort of energy upgrades or like integrations of energy that are requiring you to just be patient and give in to what your body needs. So like, for example, if you're sleeping a lot more than usual, it may be that there's a lot of work being done on you while you sleep. Pro tip, before you go to bed, you can ask like beings of light. You can ask the beings of light that love you unconditionally. Make sure you add that love you unconditionally, and ask for the highest levels of healing from the most skilled healers possible that love you unconditionally. And then you can ask for specifically like areas of healing. Like, I really want to heal like my throat chakra area because it feels out of balance, or I really want to heal fear and I don't know where that fear is coming from. But like, whatever you want, just like a really open and honest like discussion about like the types of healing, and just try that for like a month and see what happens. I find it actually to be particularly useful. And one of the cool things is that, I don't know about you, but I tend to get a lot of like messages when I'm like half asleep. And so sometimes I will feel or experience things happening to my energy, and it's just really cool to witness and observe like these incredible beings help me and help heal me just because I asked. Like, that's how unconditional love works. And so if you're like, I don't think I deserve that, of course you do. And you absolutely deserve to give yourself support, especially the unseen support that we forget is there. But I also think with the 7 of Pentacles, this is your body wanting to commend you for whatever changes you've already made to have a healthier body and to take care of it. I think there could be times where your mind gets really frustrated with how slow the world of form takes, and how slow like your form can be in terms of changing or in terms of shifting. But if you've been trying to make positive changes just in terms of how you take care of yourself, or in terms of your health, I feel like whatever you're doing is not only working, but your body's asking you to keep going, but to also be patient with results and how you see progress. I also think there is a reminder here from your body as well that you may not immediately be able to tune in to the wisdom that your body has for you, or you may not be able to immediately tune into what your body needs. But if you can focus on sitting with it and doing like full body scans, like just kind of sitting in stillness and starting, you know, at your head or at your feet, and just kind of scanning areas and see if, you know, any information comes to you or if you need anything. Like, for example, you may need more water or something like that, and you may not realize it until, well, I'm like, I need water. I think we all need water. We all do, but I definitely think that your body just needs more patience, and if you can give it more compassion and be kinder to it, I think that's kind of one of the biggest things it's asking of you, because it is going through a lot of shifts right now as it begins to integrate more spiritual energy. But I really love this. I really love this energy, and I really feel like if you have been doing stuff already to kind of be healthier, just build stamina, I feel like that is working, and your body's saying, please keep doing this stuff, like, we're loving it. But also, you know, try not to run away with unrealistic expectations of what you think it should accomplish within a day, within a week. And really just honor your need for rest or whatever your body is calling you to. Like, if every part of you is like, we need to get this thing done, but your body is just absolutely resisting it, maybe honor that and see, you know, what you can do instead. And maybe that's just nothing. I think we need to normalize doing nothing more often. And your body is saying, like, even when you feel like not a lot is happening consciously, there's a lot happening, like, in your cells, like in your DNA, which is really cool. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but that's what I'm hearing. I'm not a doctor, so take that with a grain of salt. But of course, if there are like medical things that, you know, you're experiencing, if you can and have the resources to, like, of course, check and make sure, like, there isn't something physical or biological going on. But it, you know, I do feel like you, as your energy shifts and as you're like getting these upgrades, because I feel like what's really happening is your energy body is building to be stronger and more substantial. It means your energy is going to be stronger. That means that, like, you have more of an ability to impact any room you walk into. You have the ability to uplift others and heal others. And not only that, though, one of the key components of being able to do that with skill is to be able to uplift others and not let the other bring you down. You know, obviously things are always trying to seek balance and equilibrium, but when you have a strong sense of your own energy and you feel safe in your body and, like, take full ownership of that, you can have, like, a really powerful impact on your environment by just, you know, embodying your light. And not only that, but once you're able to do that without being brought down by the frequencies that are around you, you're gonna be quite powerful, pile one, let me just tell you. Okay, so let's look at what your mind needs. 5 of Cups. So I feel like your mind needs more compassion, but also okay, if some of you just thought that your mind needs a swift kick in the ass, it does not need that. If your mind tends to be more harsh or more controlling, I think what your mind needs is to remember that it is not the one in control. Your authentic spirit is the one in control. It seems like your mind needs time to mull over some disappointments, though. The fact that we have the 5 of Cups here, this can often indicate things like sadness or disappointment. And, you know, it may be that your mind needs time to process certain frustrations or certain things that might be hurting you. But also, it may be that your mind needs to be... Why am I hearing knock down a peg? Your mind needs to remember that it does not rule you. You rule you, your authentic spirit rules you, and your mind may be a little bit upset or disappointed that it is not able to solve everything itself, that it is not able to do everything itself, and that you might have to do things differently. Your mind might have a hard time letting go of control, and I think that what your mind needs is your awareness and acceptance and understanding that, you know, it has it has been like a primary source for you to navigate the world, as it is for most people. We're conditioned to be this way, but it is not the ultimate source of wisdom. And I feel like one thing your mind needs to understand is that, we'll look at the heart in a second, but I feel like your mind is constantly trying to protect your heart from being vulnerable, from any sorts of danger, from any sorts of rejection, from anything like that. And in the process, it actually cuts off your heart from receiving things like deeper connection, support, intimacy, vulnerability. And I feel like your mind as well needs to be allowed to grieve this shift in power that's happening internally. So I feel like what's happening is, as you are growing and healing, you're starting to shift to a more holistic perspective where you consider the wants of the mind, but the wants of the mind don't overpower the needs of the body or the needs of the heart. I feel like your mind may need time though, if for some of you, like if you're going through a particularly challenging time or you've had something disappointing that happened in the past, your mind may need healing to help work through that, or just at the very least, time and space to process it, because keeping it all held in isn't helpful. But also your mind may need to be let down gently, in the sense that, you know, it may be used to running the show and it might be hard for it to let go of control. And it might create fear, and it might create this sense of like, oh, well, if I'm not in charge anymore, like how are things going to happen? How are things going to get done? And that's where it needs to kind of surrender and trust. I also feel like if you have insecurities around your intelligence, I want to remind you that non-intelligent people are not concerned about their intelligence. In fact, they usually think of themselves as quite smart. So the fact that you may even be concerned about your intellectual level, I think is a sign that you can give yourself a little bit of credit there. But I also just think that your mind needs you, in the sense that it may color your life in shades of gray sometimes. And by that I mean just like, it may project negative expectation, or may project this idea that everything will go to shit, or that like sorrow is inevitable, loss is inevitable. And your mind is right in certain cases. Like, loss is part of the cycles of growth and evolution, but loss is not all of it. When we lose something, we gain something else. And I'm not saying you're losing anything at all, but the fear of loss in general could be something that keeps your mind in control. I think your mind stays in control through fear generally, but I also think that your mind needs more support in letting go of the wheel, in a way where, you know, when your mind is dictating, we need to do this and we need to do that, and or it's criticizing or judging what you've already done, saying that's not good enough, this needs to be better, what is the point, like we're never going to get where we need to anyway, like this catastrophizing. Your mind needs support for that. And if you are unable to do that, to give yourself that support on your own, I would really suggest finding some sort of resource or support for that. But I feel like a lot of this you are capable of doing on your own, and it's just a matter of you being more in touch and present with yourself, so that, you know, when negative thoughts are creating a lot of fear in you, rather than just passively accepting it, challenging those thoughts and being like, now wait a minute, Ellen, that's not true. I assume you named your brain Ellen. Don't have to. But I do feel like your mind needs space to process and kind of grieve what is changing, because I do think there are certain ideas of your future, or certain ideas of who you were, that don't exist anymore, because maybe you realize now like they're not aligned with you, or they're not, like that's just not the direction you're meant to be headed in, and your mind may be disappointed about that, and you may need to give yourself like just time and space to be with yourself. I feel like more than anything, your mind needs your heart, and it needs your heart in a way where, rather than treating your mind as an enemy that is constantly thwarting you, or, you know, creating negative expectations or negative belief systems, instead see it as the spokesperson for your wounds, and remind it that it doesn't need to be on high alert all the time. It doesn't need to constantly be anticipating danger and fear. It doesn't need to be anticipating things going bad, but it does need, at the very least, like, your awareness and confirmation of that. Like, you know how when you just need to vent sometimes, and then you don't mention that you don't want unsolicited advice, so then you vent, and then someone starts giving you advice, and you're like, oh, I didn't want that, I just wanted a listening ear. Like, you know how to do the thing, or you know how to get out of that issue, but you're just like, you just need to get it out. I feel like your mind needs that, and just needs to be heard. I feel like there's a part of you that maybe avoids the fears that your mind generates, or the fearful thoughts, because it's like, well, what if they're true? Even if they were, does that make you any less worthy? Does that make you any less capable? No. And I feel like more often than not, they're not true. And in fact, I think that part of your healing process, and part of actually what's happening, is a rebalancing of not only how you guide yourself through the world, but also how you connect to your mind. Because your mind wants to be useful. It wants to be part of your system. It wants to help and figure things out, but it puts way too much pressure on itself and has expectations that I think are unrealistic of itself. And I think that your mind just needs its fears to be heard, so that you can both kind of sit with them together and be like, yeah, okay. And I feel like a lot of those fears are going to be like, wow, that's not even rooted in reality. But if there is any sort of grieving process that you're going through, I feel like your mind needs time to process that, and also just gentleness from you when it comes to, like, when those things surface. I think it also just needs to know that it's okay to be disappointed, and it's okay to anticipate scary things, and it's okay to be afraid, but that's not going to stop you. And also, it may need the awareness and acceptance of the fact that, like, it's just an aspect of the human experience, and obviously not a fun one, but I feel like so much light wants to come into your life, and I feel like so much light already has, but you may not always be able to perceive it because your mind is kind of clouding things for you in ways that make it hard for you to embrace the good things that are happening to you, the good things that are coming your way. And you deserve more than that, and your mind deserves peace, and deserves to feel safe, and to feel like, okay, I don't have to be constantly figuring everything out for pile one, because I know if pile one needs me, they can ask me, and we can work together. Not to, like, well, I am kind of extrapolating I'm pretending your mind is a separate being, even though you guys are the same being. It's just that, like, your logical mind may at times feel like it needs to work in overdrive, and it may create a lot of disappointments for you, and it also may make it more challenging for you to trust what you're channeling and what's coming through you. So I definitely think just your mind needs gentleness, the time to process and grieve anything that may have been particularly challenging, and it needs more of your presence and your company, where I don't know why I didn't just realize this now, but it may be that if you struggle to tune in with yourself, negative thoughts and, like, intensely negative, fearful thoughts could be your mind's way of getting your attention. Because otherwise you may just be feeding it all this stuff that's not good for you, like, for example, like certain types of media, and may not even realize the impact it has. Like, you know how kids throw tantrums when they don't have the ability to communicate their needs, but they're overwhelmed, or something is happening, and, like, their tantrum is their way of communicating. And, you know, a lot of adults might be like, well, that kid's being bad, and it's like, and so you might think of your brain as like, my brain's just being bad. No, your brain is trying to call out for your attention. It needs you in some sort of way. It needs your support. It needs your attention. It needs you to hear it. Does that make sense? So treat your mind like a sweet, precious baby that just, you know, throws tantrums sometimes when it's not being seen. And I think you'll be interested by the insights you get there. But I also feel this great need for you to not whatever you're letting go of in order to embrace this aspect of your life, to embrace whatever mission you are following, there's this real promise of like where you are headed is far more fulfilling than where you thought you would be, and to trust in that even though you may not be able to see where you're headed quite yet. So let's see what your heart needs. We have the 10 of Pentacles. Oh, the good to little elephant. I feel like your heart needs more time connecting with the people that you love and trust. This 10 of Pentacles talks about things like family, completion, legacy. I feel like your heart is already really happy. If anything, I feel like your heart wants to remind you that you can indulge in it more than you do. I see this 10 of Pentacles as a reminder that you have a wealth of resources in your heart space. Inspiration, love, creativity, compassion, nurturing. Your heart is king. And I feel like what your heart needs is for you to trust in it more and trust in where it's guiding you. But I also think that if you've been neglecting time with your family or time with people that feel like family, your heart is really asking you to spend time connecting with those people that love you and that make you feel loved, because it could be at times you're overly reliant on yourself to figure everything out, to, regenerate. And I think that it's kind of unnecessary. What your heart really needs is to receive that same love that you give, and remember that there is a network of support always there with you, always wanting the best for you. And if you don't have certain if you don't have like people close to you that you can connect to at this time, I do feel like your family of light is coming through. Pleiadian brothers and sisters, for example, are coming through to say like, hey, we have plenty of love that we would love to give you, like if you're open to receiving it, if you're open to accepting it. But I also think your heart needs you to remember that it is a resource of abundance. And if you're trying to make more money, or if you're just trying to feel more abundant, that is where your source of abundance is. It's in your heart space. And abundance too is also not about excess. It's about having enough, and also, being able to give and receive in a balanced way. What your heart needs is your trust, and your trust in that it has wisdom that your mind can't understand. But when the mind chooses to trust in it, and when you choose to trust in it, you will be amazed at where it leads you. I feel like you have a pretty old soul, and this ancient wisdom within you that I think you'll eventually be able to tap into just through bodily meditation. But I feel like your heart is leading you to external resources. Like, for example, maybe this video. Hi, thanks for choosing to watch. Congratulations on having good taste. It could be leading you to the right people, the right resources, the right information in order for you to move forward on your journey. But your heart also needs you to remember that everything that you're desiring, everything that you feel in your heart is like a dream. Your heart is fully capable of carrying you there. And I think that there's also a message here that your heart needs you to stop viewing those desires as frivolous, and also stop viewing those needs as less important. Like, obviously, practical matters are important, and I'm not saying don't be impractical or be financially irresponsible, but I feel like there are things that would be really beneficial to your heart. Like, for example, traveling to go see a friend, or, buying that squishmallow that just lights your heart on fire. Like, if you don't know what a squishmallow is, it's just a specific, I have one right here. Mr. Pikachu. Like, a little squishmallow. Isn't he cute? Like that just makes my heart so happy. And it's not frivolous to buy things because they make your heart happy. Obviously, things like rent and food come first, but it's okay to spend a little on something that you love as well. Do I need a Danny DeVito cutout in my home? No. Do I love having a Danny DeVito cutout in my home? Yes. He brings so much to the space, and he's a very special asset to my home. I have him because I love him and it makes me happy, you know? And I think that your heart needs you to stop invalidating the value of what it's yearning for, even if it's small and frivolous. Like sometimes those things can just be what we need and can be just like a reminder of like, yeah, I'm worth it. Yeah, I deserve to take care of myself. But I feel like if you have fears around not having enough, fears around failure, fears around lack, fears around losing everything, even if that's completely unrealistic, your heart is reminding you like, we are always connected to abundance. We will always be taken care of. And like, I have everything that we need in order to move forward, in order to relax, in order to trust, in order to create. I think creation in general is something that your heart knows how to do effortlessly, whether that is creating a vibe or creating a work of art, whatever it is. I also think though, you know, if your heart is really yearning for more family or to create a family, I feel like you are headed in that direction. And it could be like the person, if you don't have a family yet, whether it's, you know, one of your own creation or a ready-made family, I feel like that is coming to you through soul family. Like I feel like your heart needs people with these same inner resources and inner riches of just like loving energy inside of them. Your heart will really thrive with people like that. And if you're only around people that drag you down and people that, you know, see your heart's desires as silly or, you know, just don't really see you as you, well, I mean, I don't know. How can anyone really see? We can't even see ourselves authentically, right? But anyone who doesn't see you through a lens of love, if they see your desires as frivolous, or if they feel like if they put you down, I definitely think your heart is reminding you like those are not people that we need around us. What we need more than anything is trust in ourselves and trust in where we are headed. And I feel like your heart just needs you to trust it more, and trust in where it's leading you, and trust when you feel like urges, for example, to clean out your house or your apartment, to let go of things, because your heart is wanting to bring in different things. I feel like there's just an endless amount of wealth in your heart space, and your heart needs you to trust into it and tap into it more often, whether that is through, you know, automatic writing, through meditation, through just tuning into images in your mind's eye, or just straight up asking it, hey heart, what do you want? Because I feel like what your mind needs, like your mind might thwart your heart's desires sometimes, and it may cause you to miss out on things that would be really fun or just really empowering or really inspirational. And so I definitely think that your heart is really needing you to take a leap of faith and trust in it more, because once you do that, you will see the wisdom in what it was trying to show you all along, which I think is a lot of like, there are more ways than one to navigate the world. And not only that, but like, you have a very powerful heart, and your heart is a magnet. The more you step into it, the more you will attract what you are seeking and attract like-minded individuals and like-minded folks that will support you on your journey. So now let's see what your spirit needs. So for that, I believe this is the King of Pentacles. I'm gonna make sure, but also let's see what it says, because that could be, yes, it is the King. I am the spirit of the tangible world. I have learned what makes me feel grounded and connected with my environment. I am clear on what I need and how to make it happen, nourishing myself along the way. Now is the time to pass my wisdom on to help others connect with their goals. So the personality traits are thoughtful and goal-oriented, plans for the future and remains in the present, practical and methodical, leadership approach, reliable, hardworking and trustworthy, structured and organized, leads with common sense, envisions the future and obtains it, gentle, kind, grounded spirit. So this is really beautiful. And I guess let's look at the reverse meanings. Self-indulgent, not knowing when to stop. That sounds like your mind. Not in like a judgmental way, just in a like, it seems like you don't give yourself enough of a break. narrow-minded and have it all figured out, inflexible about thought, opinions, and goals, too much pride, lack of stability, limits and boundaries are lost, fears of not being enough and failing, fiery temper when defensive, overly risky. So I think this is really beautiful. What your spirit needs is to embrace these qualities that we were just reading, but also to just continue doing the work you're already doing. Like, you are grounding your spirit already. And I feel like what your spirit needs you to know, what it needs is for you to trust in it more and know that like you're already doing great and you're already in a solid position and you're just heading to an even more solid one. The fact that we have all these pentacles here, one common thing like with people that I like with people like you and I is that you know, you can be more of a space cadet, you can be attuned to more of like the ethereal and spiritual realms, and it may be hard for you to come down to earth and like really ground your light. And so through this process, through mastering that, like that is how you will be unstoppable. And so I feel like what your spirit needs is for you to continue growing, expanding, trusting in your own maturity, trusting in your own wisdom, and trusting in the fact that like things are already moving beautifully. If anything, the only like frustrating element here is this 5 of Cups, because your mind just may be having a really hard time with the shifts that the universe is asking you. It may be really uncomfortable to trust a different aspect of self than just your mind, but your spirit is coming through to say, not only are we headed in a really solid position, like if you already are abundant, if you already like are able to care for yourself and have plenty, just know like that's not only not going anywhere, but I feel like you will be continuing to receive more, and your spirit is guiding you there. Exactly. Like, there's this message here that your spirit wants you to know that you don't have to choose between happiness and financial security. Or let's change that word. You don't have to choose between fulfillment and financial security. You can have both. Because even doing something that makes you really happy and you enjoy, like there will be times where you are unhappy with it. There will be times where it is not going to feel like sunshine and rainbows are bursting out of your asshole because you're having so much fun. Like, it's just not realistic. It doesn't happen all the time. But if you can do something where you're both fulfilled and you have enough, like, I feel like that's where your spirit is leading you. And you're like, even if you're like, I have no clue how that's going to happen, I have no clue how that's going to get there, trust. You don't need to know. Your heart is guiding you there, and it will continue to. But I think more than anything, one thing your spirit wants you to know is through this process of clearing, of growing, of releasing old identities and things like that, your ego is going to be tested and challenged in ways where things you saw as like your identity, you may realize like you don't identify with that anymore, or you don't see yourself as that type of person anymore. Like, an example for me is I used to be very self-deprecating with my humor, and as I started to heal, I was like my brain was short-circuiting because I was like, how do I be funny and not make fun of myself? Like, which, I mean, you could still make fun of yourself and not be self-deprecating, but a lot of the jokes I would make about myself were mean and, you know, not loving. And a lot of my humor has kind of shifted as I've shifted, because I just realized like, oh, I don't need that, or oh, it's not really me anymore. And so you may find that that is like challenging for you at times, because you may have been attached to certain ways of being, or you may not have realized how ingratiated those aspects were to how you understand yourself. And I feel like what your spirit is letting you know is that you're being refined and you're maturing and you're growing in beautiful ways. You are headed in not only a positive direction, but one where peace is much more available to you, and you no longer feel like you're running out of time, but rather you realize like everything is happening in the perfect time, in the perfect way. I feel like your spirit and your heart are working together to really empower you in ways where you can welcome them more fully into your conscious experience and into your material world. And I feel like you are going to see like the evidence of abundance, like the more you trust in that and the more you're guided by that, you will be rewarded for what you are doing. And I feel called to say like it's not just about finances, but I do think that just general security and stability on this earth is a big thing you're working through right now. Even if you have more than enough, you still may not feel stable or secure. You know, there are billionaires who are not stable or secure individuals, even though they have more than anyone, you know? So I feel like you are learning lessons around what is enough, you know, what do I need to let go of, what's holding me back, what's blocking me, what's helping me move forward. And I think there's a big message here as well that these things don't move at the speed of light. They move at the speed of earth. And that means that things are going to take more time. You're going to have to be more patient with the process. But the thing I love about Pentacles cards is that they are so stable. And it's like, even though they may take time, and it may take, you know, you may feel like you're a late bloomer, or you may feel like other people are light years ahead of you. There is no such thing as someone being ahead of you. There is only you and how you relate to the world around you. You know, make sure you're not comparing yourself or have certain ideas or expectations around what you think your role should look like, because your heart may create something that's even better and more perfect for you that you couldn't have conceived of if you were just focused on what other people were doing and where you think you should be. I feel like more than anything, you need to know that like all this inner work that you're doing, whether it's conscious or not, it's helping. If you feel like you're changing and becoming a different person, I would say that there's confirmation there that you are, and to be patient with that process, because like Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is this new self that you're stepping into. But there's going to come a point in time where, and it may already be here, if you resonated with that King of Pentacles energy already, then know that like your spirit needs you to realize it's already here, it's already guiding you, and you can trust it more than you think. But if when I was reading that Spirit of Pentacles card, you know, you really liked the energy that it was embodying, that is the energy that your spirit will embody, your true spirit. And the more you trust in that, and the more you allow that to flourish and step into it, the more your spirit will be able to lead, and the more seamless that process will be. I feel like the biggest thing is just your mind creating a lot of doubt and fear around like, is this the right direction? Is this what's meant to be happening? It's like you're on like a really slow ride, like It's a Small World at Disney, for example, and like, you know, like you're gonna reach the end of the ride, you're gonna get where you need to go, but your mind is like, oh my god, I can't take in everything. How are we doing this? What if we're messing everything up? Is it selfish to choose ourselves? Like, there's just a lot here that I think is just unnecessary noise that you will continue to release and let go of as you evolve and as you grow. But like, I feel like more than anything to just know like you have endless support and endless resources. And I think sometimes you doubt the power of your own heart, the power of your ability to attract what you need, and also just the power of your words and the power of your own service. Like, you have so much to give to the world, and the world is going to let you receive as well, but you have to be open to that and remember that like this is a process. This is not a process that's meant to happen overnight. Like, this is not winning the lottery. This is winning the lottery of life, in the sense that you are abundant, you are grateful, you are cared for, you are fulfilled, and you are able to share not only your wisdom, but your resources with others and uplift others. Like, you are a genuinely abundant person already. And just because you can't necessarily see that yet doesn't mean that it's not true. And I also think that when it comes to this abundance, like, being able to recognize it outside of just pure finances and as energy, as the quality of your life, the quality of your connections, the quality of how you spend your time, like all of those things are sources of abundance as well. Your creative drives, all of that. But this is really beautiful, and I feel like you're doing such a great job, and I feel called to just ask you to, like, next time you see yourself in a mirror, say thank you. Thank you for being so awesome. Thank you for not giving up, and thank you for just continuing to move forward. So let's get guidance now. Spirit, what guidance do you have for pile 1 when it comes to caring for their body? We have awaken. This is so powerful because I do feel like you're you're coming into a body awakening. I feel like you're purging a lot. The trigger statement is, I don't know what to do. And the true statement is, every moment is a new opportunity. Take time today to engage your senses and create. The tension that has been dividing your head and heart is leaving. Okay, that feels a lot better because I was like, is anything that I'm saying making sense? I don't know, but I feel like you're coming into a body awakening that's going to just make your ability so much more powerful, and also your ability to discern, like how gut feelings can be very powerful indicators of whether something is safe or not. Like, I feel like you're going to be trusting your body's wisdom more and be able to tap into it more deeply and just be more in tune with yourself in that way. Spirit, what guidance does pile 1 need for their mind? We have align. The trigger statement is, I feel conflicted, and the true statement is, I am true to my highest self. Your focus needs to turn within to reflect on stories that are not true for you. Love is the way through. And it's so interesting, we've already had like 2 heart cards. Like, I definitely think you don't understand how powerful your heart is. The way that the example that I'm getting is like, your heart is the sun and your mind is like one of those gas generators that you use like when the power's gone out. It's like the energy between those two is incomparable. Like, you are always going to burn out and feel frustrated and feel blocked when you're led from the mind, because it's not meant to be the leader. It's meant to be a logistical resource for helping your heart and the rest of you lead. But I feel like once your mind is aligned with the rest of you, you're like, everything is going to happen so much more seamlessly, and you're not going to be so like freaked out all the time. Like, you may still be freaked out sometimes at like, what's changing, what's happening, but like there's this beautiful energy here where even when you don't know, you'll be at peace within that, and just know like, whatever I need to know will happen in the right time, in the right way. I'm supported. Everything's working out for my highest good. Like, I just feel like you're going to be so much calmer and more at peace because you're genuinely going to trust in not only the support that the universe has for you, like so much trust in your mission and so much trust in like the reasons why you're here and the value that you inherently have. You're going to stop feeling like you need to prove that, and instead you're just going to know that and be that, and just be, by being you are just, that is the most valuable, that is your most valuable asset, your authenticity and your genuine creation. All right, Spirit, what guidance does pile 1 need when it comes to their heart? We have faith. Trigger statement, why does this always happen to me? True statement, I am at peace. Know that everything will work out as it needs to, and hold a space of gratitude as you watch miracles unfold. Yeah, notice how all of these cards are heart chakra cards. Watch the last one not be, but I think that's just so powerful. Like, I'm telling you, your heart is not only a powerful resource, but it is your center of stability. Like the 10 of Pentacles, and I wonder if this 10 of Pentacles talks about stability. Secured abundance, generosity, completion. I am abundantly wealthy and stable. I am aware of the rewards I have received for my hard work and effort. My diligence has paid off, and I have built an extremely sturdy foundation. One that I trust and that encourages my confidence. Because of my stamina, loyalty, and conviction to my vision of greatness, the universe generously blesses me with the support I need. This encourages abundance to continue to unfold and flourish. I am deeply appreciative of what I have as I breathe in and absorb all that I have. It makes me happy to spread my wealth generously. And it says your loyalty and strength are admired. So like, this is beautiful. And I think that you need to have faith in your ability to do this. And, you know, if you've done it in the past, but have felt unable to reconnect to that out of fear, know you're not losing anything. You're just reconnecting to what you're disconnected from. this is so beautiful. And I think that like your heart isn't, what's the right word? It will never give up on you, and it will never stop trying to redirect you back to your highest good, which it already is anyway. But I think more than anything, it deserves your faith because it's already brought you this far, and it will continue to. But everything is working out, and like, yeah, I'm not worried about you. Like, I can understand if you're worried about you because it's easy to be worried about ourselves, but like, I have so much faith in you, and you really deserve to have that faith in yourself because like all these beings around you have faith in you as well. And you don't need to know how it will work out to trust that it will. In fact, you need the mental space for when ideas come in and when, you know, logical steps are needed. Anyway, Spirit, what guidance do you have for Pile 1's spirit? How can they tend to their spirit? The root. Earthly. The trigger statement is, I hate my body. And the true statement is, my body is my temple. Remember that you are a spiritual being having an earthly experience. Revere your loyal, sacred body. And yeah, I think that this is really powerful because I feel like so long as you're disconnected from your body in ways where you don't embrace like the experience of it, in ways where you don't like, where you wish you were someone else or something else, it's important to remember like your body is incredible and it's working so hard all the time to keep you alive, whether you're supporting it or not. And you will feel most powerful when your spirit is grounded in your body. And I feel like it's already doing that. Like, I feel like you're already, you know, doing a lot to kind of welcome your spirit in and welcome your true self in. But, you know, so long as that disconnection exists, it will be harder for you to trust in your spirit. It will be harder for you to embody your spirit. And then you will have more of an inclination to lean into your mind. So it is very important that you continue building this relationship with your body and see it as the beautiful, precious temple it is. And also remind yourself that there are a lot of aspects to society right now that are not beneficial for our health and well-being. Like, there are just a lot of things that there are a lot of like lack of nutritional food, lack of walkable spaces if you live in the United States. Like, there are a lot of different things that, you know, make it more challenging to embrace our body, and like the way that social media shifts our body image. There are so many different things, but I feel like the more you can kind of heal your perception of your body and place less blame on yourself too, because like it's important to remember that all these things are highly addictive and designed to make you want them. Like, you know, a lot of processed food is that way. A lot of like, you know, social media is designed that way. Like, there's every detriment to the self out there right now. And you know, there will be times where you fall into that. There will be times where you don't see as clearly, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. And I feel like more than anything, like, this next great shift for you is about truly surrendering to the reality that you chose to be here and you chose to be in a body, and that you are a sacred gift to humanity, even if humanity doesn't see it. You know, think about how often people, you know, shit on people in the public eye that actually have created so much good. Just because that one critical or mean person can't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't negate their impact. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, your body is what's carrying you in this lifetime. And I think that you're going through a really powerful shift where your dreams are not staying in the spirit realm. They're grounding into reality. And I'm sure they already have to a degree, but now it's time to expand and go beyond what is. And that might be kind of scary, but I promise you it's so worth it. And you're going to come through this cycle just feeling more grounded, more secure, more trusting, and ready to face whatever your heart is asking of you and wherever the universe is guiding you towards. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with a final message. And I actually want to ask specifically from like your Pleiadian brothers and sisters, what they want you to know. So Pile 1's family of light, beloved brothers and sisters, what would you like Pile 1 to know? Ooh, peacock. Cue that Katy Perry song. Peacock, overcoming negativity, divine beauty, you are worthy. I see the divine beauty within me, and I share it freely for the greatest good. Your spirit guides are bringing you a message of love, faith, and protection. Now is a fertile time to pray and receive loving, empowering, effective responses from the universe. Trust the divine completely. Allow it to draw out the depths of your beauty, grace, and sacred purpose. Rise above petty agendas and refuse to engage in ego-driven interactions. Instead, affirm and express yourself from the heart. You can develop spiritual vision, inner sight, psychic awareness, and channel divine energies for guidance and healing. You will overcome any effects of poisonous behavior from your past through spiritual intervention and grace. Your soul is gifted with being able to create resplendent beauty in this world. That is so true. And I'm gonna move it back now because I just think this peacock, like, look at how similar these pictures are. I love that. And look, there's you. And you may not be a little blonde girl, but just pretend like you're right there. Okay, pile one, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show support and appreciation for my channel. But if you would like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, like I said earlier, comment down below, let me know how it resonates. Shout out to my notification squad. You can subscribe and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. If you want me to see your comments, I usually see comments when I first upload. You can check out my merch, you can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. This one is not technically from my line, but it is still iconic. Or you can check out other videos, especially ones with extendeds. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose Kelly, the Kangaroo, and her baby, little Ricky, and the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, and the You Are Here Oracle, this is going to be your reading on what you need to know right now. So there is a full breakdown of the reading in the intro if you would like to check that out. But we are going to start by shuffling the Oracle deck that you chose to see what you need to know most. And if you are like, I don't need to know this, this is not relevant to me, then this is not your reading. But if it resonates and you're like, I needed to know this, then this is your reading. So just give these one more good shuffle and we will get into it. Did I already say thank you for being here? If not, thank you for being here. I hope it's okay Lenny is hanging out. I imagine once... I don't want to kick them out, so they're all just going to hang because they're friends anyway. So, okay. Pile 2, Spirit. What does Pile 2 need to know most at this time for their highest good? Ah, okay. I literally just heard the phrase, come out of the cave. So we have Campfire Circle. Create deep and magical connections, relationships, bonding, community. So what you need to know most is that if you are craving company, if you are someone who has been in a cycle of solitude or is even typically a person of solitude, what you need to know most is that you're stepping into a time where you are making more connections or where you will be pushed out into your community, whether online or in person. I feel like now is a very potent time for you to reunite with soul family members, manifest soul family members, just meet or come back into contact with people that are just nourishing for your highest good, nourishing for your soul. I feel like this is a time where if you're feeling called to do things that are different, like, you know, go out into your community more, take different classes, or just put yourself out there, I feel like it's very important for you to listen to that because it is bringing you the connections and the community that you've been seeking. If you've been afraid or wanting to manifest friendships or relationships or things like that, this is a beautiful, beautiful omen that's already happening. And I feel like this is actually a really great reading to do this because we're checking in on your own individual needs. And it could be that these needs help bring about like the people that you're seeking, or bring about, you know, inspiration that leads you to the types of people that you're thinking about. But also, you know, if you already have people in your life that are, you know, that you have deep and magical connections with, I feel like you're really being encouraged to spend more time with them, and to not view that time as frivolous, not view that time as unimportant. This is really a time for you to get out of your shell. And, you know, this is the only animal with that's technically two. So I feel like there is a part of you that is really craving socialization, and what the universe is saying is we are tailoring the perfect kinds of friendships and relationships for you to, you know, ingratiate yourself more deeply into connection with others. You know, if you've been, like I said, really solitary, or just kind of are a person that, you know, has a hard time putting yourself out there, I feel like you're going to be called to put yourself out there more and just share more of yourself, because it's leading to powerful communities that will be supportive and uplifting. One message that I'm hearing is if you're feeling called to like start your own coven or join a coven or something like that, that could be beneficial for some of you. But this time is all about deep and magical connections. So the universe is not pushing you out into the world to make fake, frivolous friendships. They're pushing you out into the world to meet people that resonate with you and that support who you're becoming. And it might take some time, but it's going to be worth it. I feel like more than anything, though, if you already have these individuals in your life, make sure you're giving yourself enough time to spend time with those people, or, you know, connect with them, because their impact could be very powerful for you as well. Whether this is something you're trying to manifest, or whether this is something that you've been craving, Spirit is really saying give yourself that permission to prioritize nourishing connections. And if you don't have those in your life, prioritize the inner nudges that are encouraging you to put yourself out there, because that's how you're going to meet them. And it may take some time. It may require you to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, but they're promising you it'll be worth it. So now we're going to look at your individual needs. So we're going to look at your body's needs, your mind's needs, your heart's needs, and your spirit's needs at this time. So Spirit, what does pile 2's body need at this time? What does their body need in order to be aligned with their highest good? We have the Knight of... Is this the Knight? Yes. Maybe. I'll have to look. What does pile 2's mind need at this time? What does pile 2's heart need at this time? And what does their spirit need at this time? Okay, let me just check and make sure that that is the Knight. I don't want to be wrong. Knight, swords. Where are swords? Spirit. Okay, yeah, warrior. So this is the Knight of Swords. What your body needs, and this is going to be a little blunt, but it needs you to kind of cut the shit. And by that, I mean cut the shit around stuff you know isn't working, stuff you know isn't good for you, but also to be unapologetic about advocating for your needs. I actually had this, was thinking about this, you know, the other night, and it might be beneficial for you as well. If you are a sensitive person, you may need more time and space to recharge, and you may be pickier about, you know, who you spend your time with. You may also really beat yourself up for being unable to do things the way that other people do them. Like maybe you have less energy, or maybe you are naturally an introverted person, or something like that. I basically just kind of had the realization of like, I need to be more unapologetic about taking care of my needs, because I am not other people. I am me, and I am the only one that can truly advocate for myself. Nobody's going to be like, hey, Madison, like, do you need to have a night off? Do you need to, you know, maybe be kind to yourself? Nobody's going to do that. I have to do that. And I feel like your body's kind of saying that as well. Like, for example, if there are things that you're doing that you know aren't good for you, like, for example, isolating too much, or, you know, abusing a substance, or and you know, addiction is a complex thing, and I'm not saying you're addicted to anything, but if there are things that you know you could cut out now and easily, your body's really telling you to do that. Like sleep is a huge one, you know. If you are really struggling to get enough sleep, but you're like, yeah, but I want to do all this stuff, your body's asking you to cut the shit. Stop lying to yourself, because if your body is not well taken care of, you're not going to have the energy or the motivation to leave your comfort zone. I feel like what your body needs also is just more excitement. So I feel like your body is really wanting to explore your environment more, or just get out into the world. I also think, though, your body needs you to advocate for it. And when you don't want to do something, or when you know that wouldn't work for you, speak up. So like, for example, you know, if you're a sober person and you're wanting to, and you're getting to know new people, and they suggest going to a bar, if you know like that would put you in an uncomfortable situation, rather than saying like, yeah, that's fine, say, no, actually, I'm sober and I would rather do something where alcohol isn't around. Like, because if people judge you for that, like, I'm not saying that that's your example, but as an example, and if people would judge, and if you're not saying that out of fear that people would judge you negatively, like, those aren't the deep and magical connections that you're going to be forging in the first place. That's you can cross them off the list. Like, you know, deep and magical connections are mutual. And I feel like there's a big emphasis here on treating yourself the way you would a friend. Like, if you're the type of person to always be tuned in to other people's experiences and what other people are going through, and you just kind of have that ability to see them in a way where maybe other people miss, like, you need to see yourself that way, and you need to stop forgetting to put yourself in that mix. And I think of a powerful message for you is no is a complete sentence. You can just say no, and you don't have to explain yourself. But I do feel like your body is really asking you to be brutally honest about what is serving it and what isn't. And if it is a problem beyond what you can handle on your own, please seek support. Please find help, or at the very least, open up and talk about it, maybe with someone who knows and understands, because they may be able to help you. But I also think that this is important when it comes to discerning the connections in your life that are going to be powerful, because maybe there's people you want to reach out to, but you haven't, out of fear that they'll reject you, or out of fear that, you know, you're annoying or bothering them. That is going to stop you from creating deep and magical connections. I also think that, you know, the right types of people will not be weirded out or upset or bothered by you advocating for your needs. More than anything, your body needs you to be brutally honest with yourself and others. Maybe, you know, you can still be honest and kind, but to be blunt about it. Don't make a bunch of excuses. Don't over-explain. Just be honest with yourself. You know, what is not working? How can you change that? And if you're unwilling to change that, can you accept that and not beat yourself up further? You know, if you're unwilling to change, that's on you. Like, and you're allowed to not have to change. But you also have to accept the consequences of that. So, for example, if you don't want to go to bed, you do have to accept the consequences of being sleepy the next day. But yeah, what your body needs is just more honesty and more of a willingness to speak up for yourself, say no, and not put yourself in overly strenuous positions where you're pushing your body to the brink and are unable to care for yourself in the ways that you need. Let's look at what your mind needs. We have chance. So this is the Wheel of Fortune. What your mind needs is to be more open. Your mind also needs to remember that there are greater realities than the one your mind can conceive of, and also far more possibilities and opportunities than your mind realizes. I feel like there are times where you get a nudge to go and do something different or try something, and your mind may shut you down and be like, well, no, that's the only day we have off, and like we should keep that open just in case, or no, like how beneficial is that going to be anyway, or that's going to be really uncomfortable, we wouldn't like that. Like, I feel like your mind just keeps you small as you're trying to expand, and what your mind really needs is the reminder that it can't anticipate everything and it doesn't know everything. It might feel like it does, it might think it does, but it doesn't. I feel like your mind needs to remember that there are highs and lows to everything, and that it doesn't have to be attached to certain ways of being. I think that you're really desiring expansion in your life in ways where you just go beyond monotony and what has been for you. I feel like you're ready to leave your comfort zone. You're ready to share more of yourself with the world, to, meet new people or forge different connections. But it, one, will require you to be open-minded and do things you're uncomfortable with. Like, sometimes you will have to be the one to put effort into a friendship. Sometimes, obviously, that doesn't mean like only one-sided friendships or things like that, but not relying on everyone to come to you to do that for you. Like, if you have the unconscious belief of, well, if they don't reach out, I'll assume they don't want to, or because most people are doing the same thing. And more often than not, like, we are all in a state of passivity, waiting for the other person to make the first move. And I feel like what your mind needs is the courage to make the first move, and also realize, like, if someone rejects spending time with us, if someone doesn't want to be around us, like, we are just weeding out who isn't part of this special campfire circle. I'm thinking of the campfire song, CAMPFIRESONG song. Like, that's from SpongeBob. Those of you that knew that, love that. And if you didn't, excellent homework. Good video. Good video, good show, good I can't talk right now. But see, I just flopped that entire sentence, and, well, maybe you did judge me, which is fine. That says more about you than does me. But, like, I'm fine. I survived, and we're going to keep moving. I think that what your mind needs is a reminder that not every opportunity you take will be this life-changing breakthrough of expansion, but also not every change you make will be terrifying and horrible. A lot of times it might be, I think most experiences are generally more positive than we anticipate them to be, and can be exciting and plant seeds for future growth and future opportunities. I feel like your mind needs to know that you're not alone in this. Like, not only do you have people out there already that know and love you, but there's also people out there that you have yet to meet that will love you and know you as well. And the only way to get there is to follow those inner nudges. And I think what your mind needs is just the reminder that you're not alone in this, that when you are stuck between option 1 and option 2, remember that there's always an option 3, and that you're not as trapped as you believe you are. And sometimes things just take time, and that there is a time for everything. There is always highs and lows. But this urge to reach out, to be in community more, to be with others more, and to just create more connections, or just strengthen the connections you already have, like, there's a reason for it. Like, the universe is literally guiding you towards that. And I think that that support could be a powerful counterbalance for your mind, because, your mind might be the one to disempower you. Your mind might be the one to tell you, like, oh, you can't do things, or this will never work out, or, all those negative beliefs that aren't rooted in truth, but rooted in wounds or rooted in fear. When you have people around that believe in you and that support you and care for you, it'll be a powerful counterbalance for you to remember, like, oh, my brain isn't telling the truth. It's just telling me my fears. I think also, though, you might be waiting for these people to come to you, or this community to come to you. And I think for some of you, you may need the encouragement to create that, or to, at the very least, just put yourself out there in ways you normally wouldn't. Don't be afraid to make small talk. Don't be afraid to say hi. Don't be afraid. Like, people are lonelier than ever. I promise you, like, most people are not going to, I know a lot of people don't really like small talk, but that small talk is necessary to get to deeper talk. Like, it's a little bit weird to go up to a stranger in an art class and be like, so what are your deepest traumas? You could, and someone might be game, but sometimes it takes time to forge those connections, and you may need to be patient. Okay, let's look at what your heart needs. We have the devil. So your heart really needs you to reclaim its desires, reclaim its spirit. Your heart needs you to let go of attachments that are holding you back, and to remember that some of what you're demonizing or some of what you are pushing away is actually what you truly need. You just may be attached to your comfort zone, and maybe to certain belief systems about, like, if you have the identity of like being a loner, or you know, you just feel like nobody truly gets you. I'm not saying that that's how you are, but you know, if those are belief systems you've cultivated, those have to be challenged because they will get in the way of your ability to connect more deeply. I feel like your heart needs you to remember that there is so much more for you than what you've been attached to. And the cool thing about having a home in yourself already is that you can always go back to that. When socialization is draining, when doing new things is scary, you always have home to come into. But I feel like your heart is really begging you actually to pay attention to what is keeping you trapped, what is keeping you held down, what is keeping you stuck, and what you are attached to that's unhealthy, because those are the things that are likely keeping you from having deeper connection and deeper community. And I also feel like if addiction plays a role in this, to really start thinking about seeking help or seeking support for that, because I don't know why I stopped myself there. I think the biggest thing is that like, you are not a bad person for having weaknesses, for having flaws, for having fears. But I think your heart feels really chained to what you have decided is how you are. And your heart's reminding you, like, that's not how we have to be. You know, we may have forged an identity around this, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I also feel like with the devil being here, your heart also needs you to surrender to its needs and to not see them as something bad, like connection, intimacy, you know, vulnerability. These are not bad things. These are things that we can be afraid of when we seek connection and intimacy and vulnerability with unsafe people. And I'm sure you've had experience with unsafe people. So one thing you need to remember is that your heart and mind and gut can help discern when people are right for you or not. And I feel like that's where this unapologetic, like, no bullshit energy comes in on your body's part, because I feel like your body will feel pretty intuitively early on whether someone is a safe person or not. But I feel like what your heart needs is to be honored as a part of your system again. I mean, your heart is what's keeping you alive, but energetically speaking, your heart is also what leads you to deeper connections, more powerful experiences, and it's what allows you to expand. I feel like you've really been holding your heart down because it may be very painful to think about what you desire and know that you don't have it at that moment, but that's why your mind needs to be more open to what your heart is yearning for, because you may be shocked in the multitude of ways that your heart's needs can be fulfilled, whether it's through connections with others, whether it's through forging your own community, whether it's through connecting more deeply with people that you've missed. Like, for me, for example, like, I only do low maintenance friendships. Like, I can't do high maintenance friendships. If you need me texting you every day, like, I'm not going to be a great friend to you, because like, I'm incapable of that. There are times where I disappear. With every single friend in my life, we have an agreement and understanding that it's all love. If there is ever a genuine problem, let's talk about it, which I can't even like count, like, doesn't really happen. And that may be a thing too. You may be holding back from connecting with others out of fear that you're a bad person or people won't like you, but you may be shocked to realize, like, oh wow, maybe I wasn't the problem. Like, I will tell you, Kino Tarot, the first time we ever hung out together in person, we like kind of had this heart to heart about like, about like friendships that we were recovering from, like friendships that were really painful and really hard, and that was a beautiful bonding experience for us. Like we were both hungover, hanging out in my hotel room, eating ramen and just talking about life, and it was, you know, just like one of, like, oh my god, it makes me want to cry. Like, and she's still one of my best friends to this day, and I couldn't have even met her, let alone like all of the most incredible human beings, like, well, the majority of the incredible human beings I've met on this planet has been through doing this. And I could have never met them if I didn't put myself out there, if I didn't do this. Like sometimes, like I genuinely believe I had to do this in order to meet my best buds. And I'm so grateful for that. And like, so if you're being called to do something that is a bit of a leap, or you're like, how does that even connect to friendship? You never know who you'll meet through this stuff. And like, those true, genuine heart-to-hearts, like, sometimes it takes time for those to come about. Sometimes it takes time to meet those people, but I promise you they're worth it. And, like, when you will know bro when you feel bro. Like, you'll just be like, that's bro. Like, this person's my vibe. And, like, you will just know it. And I feel like you need to stop demonizing the desires of your heart as weak, as stupid, as senseless, because it's not only not true, but it's what's stopping you from experiencing, you know, more magic and more joy and more connection and more authenticity, you know, with the people around you, but within yourself. You know, the right types of people will make you feel free to be yourself, and not only make you feel free to be yourself, but they will make you feel good about being yourself, and they will make you realize, like, oh yeah, this is the type of good friendship. Like, this is good friendship juice. Like, yeah, once you know what good friendship juice tastes like, you will never settle for bad friendship juice again. Maybe this is a sign I need to make a friendship reading. I've been planning on doing that forever. I just haven't done it. So if you want to see that, let me know. But what your heart really needs is to break free of the fears and attachments that you have that are stopping you from being more open and more free. I'm sorry if you heard my stomach. It's gonna be time for dinner for me real soon. Okay, let's look at what your spirit needs. Ooh, we have manifestation. So, but I think that this is a very unique card. Your spirit needs you to work with it. You know, the phrase of the magician that I always think of is as above, so below. And I feel like what your spirit needs is for you to count on it more and to trust it more, because it's guiding you and leading you where you need to go. And in fact, you have a lot of major cards here. So I feel like there's a lot of major shifts that you're going through, and there's kind of and like this process, like, it's all working together. But what your spirit needs is for you to have more confidence in forging and creating the life that you want, rather than waiting for your life to show up on your doorstep. Realize that your life's already happening right now, and you're creating it in every moment with your thoughts and beliefs. What your spirit wants is for you to be more in tune with it in ways where, like, for example, witchcraft. You don't have to do witchcraft, but if you've been drawn towards that, that could be, like I already said, you know, I don't talk about that stuff very often. So, I mean, the fact that it came through for you, I think, is quite powerful. You know, witchcraft can be a way of, you know, setting intentions and creating and forging the bonds that you want to experience. But I think it also, your spirit is really just asking you to lean on it more and realize that, like, the love within you, the love that your spirit has for you, that can carry you over mountains and through mountains that you never thought you could climb. And that's the thing, is it'll carry you, so you don't even have to climb. With this magician card being here as well, you underestimate your ability to manifest. And I think there's already manifestations that you've created that are now coming into fruition, where in order for them to come into fruition, you have to make the shifts and changes that are required. So, like, you know, for example, if you are manifesting a friend, the friend isn't going to be like, hello, I am the friend you manifested. Welcome. Is this your house? Spirit gave me your address. Wouldn't you be kind of freaked out by that? Like, that would be kind of weird. So it's rather like, for example, if you have that nudge, like, maybe I should try out this class, or maybe I should go to this group for witches, or this spiritual group. Like, try to seek circles where there's mutual interest already, because then you've got an in to bond with someone and get to know them better. But I feel like what your spirit needs is for you to consciously understand that you're already creating with your intentions and with your actions, and that not only are you entirely capable of creating this, but you're already connected to it. It's your doubt and your fear and, you know, the belief systems that you've carved that are making you feel like, that are making you stop in the process. Like, I'm getting this image of someone planting a seed and then like digging it up 3 days later to make sure it's still there. And if it's sprouted, oh, it hasn't sprouted yet. Oh, okay, I'll rebury it. Like, you gotta let the seed grow, but you gotta keep tending it, you know? You gotta water it, make sure it's got enough sunlight, and it will grow. But you can't control how fast it grows, and you can't control how it does. All you can do is be the gardener. And I feel like your spirit, in a way, is it really needs you to trust it, and trust in how it guides you, because it's not going to come down out of the sky and be like, hey, pile 2, so you wanted this to happen, so we're gonna make this happen, so I need you to be at this place at this time doing the, like that's not how it works. It communicates to you through symbols, through signs, through intuitive nudges, through leaps, through, like, you know, yearnings in your heart. And that's why it's so important that your heart is a part of this process, because your heart is your soul's representative. You know, when you can't speak to the soul, speak to the heart. And if your heart is trapped and chained and held back in fear, you are going to keep repeating the same loop, continuously yearning for what you desire without realizing that what you desire could already be here if you would just surrender and trust in the steps the universe is asking of you. Everything is going to be more than okay, and you are worthy of things like friendship and mutual connection and love, you know, and for, you know, romantic relationships, if that's what you're trying to forge or create, that can happen. You know, if you're trying to have healing happen between you and someone else, like, that can be something that happens. Like, love and time heal a lot of things, but I also think that you're underestimating how much you've healed and how much value you have inherently. Like, if you grew up in a small town, you may have, you know, how challenging it is to grow and change, because people always see you as the person you once were, or they judge you based on what they know about your family or what they know about, like, your life, without even bothering to get to know you. But when you're in a completely new place, like, I remember, like, when I went off to school, I was like, oh wow, people don't judge me based on what they think they know about me. And actually, I'm easily making friends because I'm not around closed-minded, judgmental people anymore. That's crazy. And they actually like my personality. And that is the biggest thing. I know that there were kids at school that did not like my personality. That's fine. I probably was annoying. But those people they're not, like, let's just say their personality hasn't carried them the same way mine has. So things that you may have felt like were defects or made you feel like there was something wrong with you, you may come to realize are the very things that create those bonds, and that, you know, make you feel like you've got, like, Kino and she watched a reading of mine where I was talking about Shrek, and Shrek was our in to, like, connecting more deeply. You know, you never know what it'll be. And it took time for us to, like, I think we didn't, like, meet up. Well, she's also in Japan, but, like, we didn't meet up in person for the first time for, like, 9 months. So, like, we had 9 months of, like, getting to know each other and, like, building that before we actually, like, you know, and it's just built and expanded over time. And, like, genuine friendships are that way. Like, they just age like fine wine, and you don't have to work so hard, and you don't have to hide yourself. You can just be yourself, and they will love that. Like, your authenticity is, and loving that authentic self, even if you can't, like, it's hard to consciously, authentically love yourself, but one of the most loving things you can do when you can't create that love is to just love yourself enough to not hide who you are, and love yourself enough to just be honest about who you are, because that alone, I think, is an act of self-love, even if you may not always love all of who you are, because it's hard to, you know, we got flaws, but loving ourselves, not in spite of our flaws, but because we are flawed, like, that is just another reminder of you know, that we are human and we deserve love no matter where we are at in life. But okay, let's get some guidance for your body. So Spirit, can you clarify, how can Pile to attune to their body's needs? Okay, so we have 2 for this one. We have peaceful. The trigger statement is, my life is a mess. The true statement is, I find stillness within. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Go within to find peace there, and your life will reflect that. So I definitely think if you're like, well, I can't do that, or like, one, the belief that you can't find peace inside of yourself is a belief that will harm your ability to do that. But 2, mindfulness and peacefulness, like stillness, is a skill. Like, you can't expect yourself to run a marathon if you've never even run 2 miles. So it's also unrealistic to expect yourself to just be able to sit in perfect stillness. Even people that meditate every single day, like, part of meditation is just the mind wandering and recentering back, like, to that stillness. Instead of trying to achieve perfection, just try and start building that skill. But we also have intimacy. The trigger statement is, this is too good to be true. The true statement is, it can only get better. Allow yourself to experience more joy and love. Raise your resonance by swimming in the sweetness of life. Yeah, I feel like the things that your body is asking you to cut out are things that, like, stop you from being more connected, from being more intimate with others. And, like, you know, for example, there are things that we can be ashamed of that cause us to push people away. Like, you know, if your house is messy, you may not want to invite people over or show that because you feel shame about that. But then, you know, it may build over time. And like, that is not a sign that you're a horrible person. That's just a sign that you may need more help. And you know, one thing too is that, like, don't underestimate, like, the power of, you know, and I find that really organized people love helping others organize. It's like, especially because it's not theirs to organize. So it's like more of an activity. Maybe you just need to manifest yourself an organizer bestie. Like, I'm sure you can find that. But I feel like more than anything, you have to start getting comfortable with being intimate with yourself, where you're not afraid to be honest about what you need, about what's going on. And of course, that doesn't mean oversharing or forcing yourself to share things you're uncomfortable with. But I feel like if you're already creating friendships that are really powerful for you, you should not only honor those, but also recognize that, you know, some things are not too good to be true. Some things are just good. And I feel like maybe you have distorted goodness as like something you don't deserve, or something that always goes away, or something that is always ruined. And here's your opportunity to rewrite that script and say, no, actually, things can just be good. Things can just be special. Things can just be a blessing in my life, and you deserve blessings. Okay, what about their mind, Spirit? How can Pile 2 support their mind's needs at this time? We have ease. The trigger statement is, I have to make this work, and the true statement is, I am at ease with life. You need to ease your grip on life so that I can lead the way. There is an outcome brighter than you can imagine. And look at that. Literally, the lady in this chance card is holding this bright light, and look at how bright the full moon is here. I definitely think that your mind is making things seem overcomplicated, but also one thing that could be really helpful for you is massage. Like, if you're comfortable with that, try and see if like you can, you know, do something that like helps you get out of your mind into your body, like massage or yoga or something like that. But if you're like, I can't afford a massage, like, look and see if there's a massage school nearby. Like, oftentimes they have students that are offering massages for free or for a reduced price. Do I go into the rant? Okay, now I kind of have to. This is a side note rant. I will place a timestamp if you want to skip rant. But okay, in high school, I had this sociology teacher. He's also my government teacher. And but this was sociology class. I know, you needed to know the difference. I know you were asking. And he had this question for the class that was like, if you could have, for free, a personal chef, a personal driver, a personal masseuse, or something else, which would you choose? And I chose the personal masseuse because a bitch be tired and her back always hurts. And I swear, this was like, now actually I would probably choose personal driver or personal chef. I don't know, but at that time, my posture was terrible. My back always hurt. And my fucking teacher, he's like, why would you choose that? I feel like that's so weird. Like you just want someone to like touch your body and I was just like, I was like, this man put personal masseuse on there so that he could call like those students out. And I was like, no, it's a professional thing. Like, there are boundaries and ethics. And he's like, well, I just think it's weird. And I'm just like, dude, like, then don't make it an option. Like, quit projecting your weird massage insecurities onto me. Like, most massage therapists have a code of ethics that they stick to, and I pray I never experience the ones that don't, but like, massage is a genuinely helpful thing. And I just remember being like, this sucks because the power is imbalanced, and no matter how passionately I believe this, mind you, I was the first one to answer, so nobody else picked that, and then I'm the guy, so I'm like, quit, like, and that was all my teacher's creation. Quit projecting your massage weirdness onto me. And you know why I think this is coming up? Because I had a dream the other night that I was stuck in his class, and I was just like, no, like, I don't want to be here. Oh, it was a whole thing. Rant over. It is not weird to get massages, okay? And it's not weird to take care of yourself. Anyway, that was my rant. It really didn't have a point other than, can you believe that bullshit? Though I did hear about, actually, no, I'm not gonna say that. Okay, we're done. I've ranted enough. But do you not agree that's kind of fucked up? Like, motherfucker was setting me up, okay? And I wasn't wrong, and I know I wasn't wrong, but he wouldn't concede because he got that power. Fine. But I'm correct. And he has weird massage issues. Anyway, let's see what your heart needs. What my heart needs is to relax. I'm like getting fired up about that. What does pile 2's heart need at this time, Spirit? We need flow. The trigger statement is, why are things such a struggle? And the true statement is, I am in the flow. Take a breath, dear one, and allow yourself to feel the flow of life through you. Release your need to do and just be. I feel like I kind of forced that one out, so I'm going to shuffle another one. But I do feel like in terms of, you know, breaking free of habits that don't serve you, like, for example, you know, your heart may love doing something that's very creative, but it's easier to scroll on social media. Like, that's an example of something that's like keeping your heart stunted, you know what I mean? Or like holding your heart back. But I also think that, like, you know, there are certain ways of being that you may not even truly be attached to. They're just familiar and you're used to it. And so when you are consciously connected to your own flow, when you're about to make those decisions, you can actually be conscious with it and be like, do I really need to do that? And if you really need to do that, do it. But being consciously aware of how it affects you will make it easier in the future to not choose the thing that holds you back. But what other guidance does pile 2's heart need? We have resolution. The trigger statement is, the past haunts me. And the true statement is, in this moment, I am free. Let yourself be the one to heal the wounds passed down from your ancestors. The release and growth begins with you. And I think that this is really powerful because I think that, you know, maybe you are afraid of romantic or friendly connections because maybe other people have hurt you in the past. But I feel like this is your opportunity to not allow that to stop you anymore, and to also realize you are deserving of kind connections. You are deserving of that love, and also you are discerning enough to say no. And it could be possible that in the past you allowed poor treatment because you were afraid to stand up for yourself, and your body is saying no more. We're saying no to that. We're not allowing people to treat us that way. Heart center and solar plexus seem to be the most important energy bodies to work on, and I feel like solar plexus especially is very powerful because that's where your confidence comes from. It's where gut feelings comes from. It's where your sense of self comes from. But anyway, Spirit, what guidance do you have for Pile 2's spirit? How can they address their spiritual needs? We have the third eye chakra with the trigger statement being, I am stuck, and the true statement is, I am filled with possibility. Allow yourself to float up above any thoughts or emotions and see what is needed for you to process them and move forward. Yeah, I feel like your higher self has lots of inspiration for you, and your spirit really just needs you to like be on board with the fact that things can not only get better, but they will be better. And and if you don't know how, like, let us show you, like, let the universe show you. And on the back of the deck, we have inspiring again with the with the theme being freedom. The trigger statement is, I have no choice. And the true statement is, I create my day, my life. It is time to play, do something different today to shift your routine. And it is those very things that may help you forge the type of connections you are looking for, forge the type of experiences you are wanting. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this off with a final guidance message. So Pile 2. Pile 2. This is your message, not Pile 1's. Pile 2. Spirit, what guidance do we need to get for Pile 2? What do they need to know at this time for their highest good? Oh, fuck yeah, we got Thunderbird. Okay. Yup. We've got transition, initiation, victory. I take the journey with courage in my heart. And how are you going to feel the courage in your heart if you refuse to let yourself feel and let your heart be brave? Your heart is strong and powerful, just like you. You are meant to take a journey. It may be an inner or outer journey, and you will have spiritual protection on your quest. Your current soul journey includes an experience of initiation. And I think this initiation is stepping into the new, stepping into the different things that will allow you to forge deeper connections with others or create those connections. Your current soul journey includes an experience of initiation. A challenge becomes a soul victory as you gain wisdom and awareness of your courage, strength, and other inner resources. A new chapter will begin for you, signaling the end of a time of struggle and the dawning of a more positive, successful chapter in your life. Open your heart and mind with optimism as a significant blessing and gift of grace is headed your way, which I think is so powerful. And I feel like what you need to know is that you can trust where your heart and spirit are guiding you. The hardest thing about this is choosing to do things that are not habit yet, to get out of the habit of doing what holds you back, and to also be willing to face the fear of speaking up for yourself, of being your authentic self, of facing the potential rejection that comes from that, which, remember, that rejection is divine protection, and that just shows you who you shouldn't spend your time and energy with. And that is what will help lead you to those people that truly resonate with you. And, you know, you've always got your spirit to lean on. You've always got resources to lean on. And more than anything, you are headed to a much, much brighter place internally. And I feel like that is going to be reflected externally, and things are going to get better. Take a chance. In the words of our Lord and Savior, Kelly Clarkson, break away. Well, also Avril Lavigne, because I think she wrote it. So both of them. But Pile 2, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching. And thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me. I don't expect you to watch them, but letting them play helps me so much. But if you would like to show me support in other ways, you can like this video. You can comment down below. Let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my merch. You can check out my social media. Shout out to my notification squad and my intro squad. I love you guys. If you want me to see your comments, I usually see them when I first upload. Candles, be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. Meow, 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 meow. Okay, I think that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose Gertie the Giraffe, I hope it's okay that her buddies hang out with her. And as well as the Synesthesia Tarot and the Energy Oracle, then this is going to be your reading on what you need to know right now. If you would like a full breakdown of the reading, there is one in the intro, but we are going to go ahead and start by shuffling a card from the Oracle deck that you chose, and we are just going to go ahead and see what it is you need to know right now. So give these one more good shuffle. You can just focus your intentions on the cards and just intend that this deck gives you the message you most need to hear. Pile 3, Spirit, what do they need to know most at this time? What message do they need to hear that could align with their highest good, please? What do they need to hear? Are you afraid? You're fine. We're so happy you're here. And by we, I mean me and the loving spirits that are here helping me channel. We love that you're here. Okay. What does Pile 3 need to know at this time? Why did I know that this was going to come out? I wondered if this card was going to come out. Okay. So, now, this card is not to say that you... Actually, let's read what the book says, and then I'll go in from there. Lack dissatisfaction. This card shows a woman holding a huge pearl in one hand and a platter of coins and pearls in the other. She stands in a silver room looking out at a golden city on the horizon. She has a life of value already, but she ignores that and longs for the shining prosperity she sees elsewhere. Instead of feeling happy and fulfilled, her desire for more only causes a deep sense of lack and dissatisfaction, and that energy shows in her dress. This card upright is telling you to let go of the jealousy and acknowledge the blessings you already have in your life. Now is the time to shift your focus. After all, when you envy others, it only attracts more to them, not you. Notice all that you have and thank the universe for it. If this card is near the appreciation card, the message is doubly important. Well, we don't have the appreciation card, we only have one card. Now is the time to move from a consciousness of lack to one of value. With this shift, all things can change. Now, for some of you, you may not resonate with being envious. And I honestly think envy is like a really intense word. Sometimes I think jealousy can suit things better, but you may not have even envy or jealousy towards anyone at all. This card may be highlighting the fact that you do feel lack and you do feel like what you don't have is enough. But I also think that this message is for you if you resonate with the idea of being afraid to receive more out of fear that it will make others mad or that others will be envious of you. And as someone who has been the object of other people's envy in quite public and nasty ways, you'll get through it. And it might hurt, but you deserve to shine and not let others stink yours up. With this envy card being here, I feel like there's kind of a twofold message here about not invalidating the fact that you may feel lack, that you may want more, but just recognizing that it's there and the pain that it might be creating. And then on top of it, like, what you're truly desiring is something that's not only available to you, it may require you to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, but you can have more. And having more starts with recognizing what you have now is enough, which is kind of what this was talking about. But I also think that there is a part of you that may subconsciously believe that you don't deserve a better life, or that you don't deserve more prosperity, or that, you know, nothing good will ever come to you. And I feel like what you need to know is that's not only not true, that's doing you a massive disservice and really inhibiting your ability to move forward and to take risks and to see what the value of what you already have is. I also feel really called to say as well, like, if you are the object of someone else's envy, to not let yourself ruminate on that or focus on that, because that doesn't serve anyone. I think if anything, if you do feel that towards someone else, asking yourself what part of yourself is not being seen in that process, in that feeling, because when you feel jealousy or envy towards someone else, it's because, there's a part of you that's going unseen, that's going unrealized, that wants to be seen, wants to be in that position, and you have the ability to do that, but that requires, inner work and things of that nature. So I'm really glad that we have these tarot cards, and we're going to be looking at all of your different needs, because this might help you get to the bottom of things. And I feel like for a lot of you, you won't resonate with the term envy, because I don't think a lot of you are genuinely envious. It's more so like you may just be feeling like you may just be having a hard time seeing the value of what's already here, and feelings of lack and fear may be causing you to have trouble moving forward and trust in your ability to create more. But I definitely think you're not seeing what the value of what you already have is. And if you're like, what value? And then you start like shitting all over everything that you have and getting mad at me for saying that, you need to ask yourself why your current stuff is not enough, especially if it serves you. I mean, you have a working phone or computer or a device to watch this on. You have a body that's breathing. One thing we all take for granted is air. We don't worry about the next breath coming because breathing is natural, and we trust that there will be more air to breathe. You don't look at your neighbor breathing and go, stop breathing, that's my air. What if I want to breathe it? There is more than enough. And I think that is an important thing to remember, is that there's always space for you. There's always enough for you, and there always will be enough for you. But if you don't feel like you're enough, it doesn't matter what you have. It's never going to be enough. You're never going to feel like you could literally be inside that golden palace and still feel like it's not enough and you don't have enough. And that's why, like, being appreciative of what you already have now and grateful for it is a beautiful way to bring in more, because you're already generating an abundant energy. Does that make sense? I know it sounds very like, listen, like, you just gotta fix your vibes, and like, if you fix your vibes, your tribe will come naturally. Like, you just gotta good vibe your way into it. But like, there is some wisdom to it that the logical mind may recoil at, but that the wisdom of the soul knows. And also, the people that you might be viewing as having it better than you, or as, being where you want to be, you don't know what they're carrying or what they're going through. Remember, a lot of what you see is not the truth, especially online. So don't get caught up in that, because it not only hurts you, but it can hurt others. It can just be hurtful all around. Anyway, I'm not saying that you're doing that, but if you're afraid of other people's envy, yeah, sometimes you're gonna be on the receiving end of some bullshit, but that you can alchemize that bullshit into more gold. And what will they have other than the shit that they're flinging at people? And at the very least, you can say, if you have those feelings but you don't act on them, you have a leg up, and that those feelings make you human, and you don't have to like beat yourself up for that. You're not a bad person for feeling that way. That feeling is communicating to you. Parts of you are going unseen that want to be explored and nurtured. And also, part of you may be, not seeing things as clearly. Like, and it's easy to take for granted shit like running water. If you've running water, like, that is a blessing. A roof over your head, a huge blessing. If you have people that love and care about you, blessings. Like, just because they may not look like they're straight from an HGTV catalog doesn't mean that they're not perfect and you can't be grateful for them. Okay. I feel like I'm preaching. I kind of am. Oh well. Okay. Let's start by looking at what your body needs. So what does pile 3's body need at this time? We have the Ace of Wands. Okay. What does pile 3's mind need? I'm gonna leave that face down. What does pile 3's heart need? And what does pile 3's spirit need? And actually, I want to ask one more question before we get into this with the energy oracle. What will pile 3 receive when they release these energies of lack and fear and distrust? Woo, that flew. Let's see what it is. Oh, bitch, let's go. I love that. Okay, can you see that? Yeehaw, you can. Like, literally, I love all of this gold here because it's like what you are seeking, you already have. You just have to trust it. It's like I don't have a good example, so I'm not gonna give one, but you're headed towards success, you're headed towards victory, you're headed towards empowerment. And I'll just read that one from the book as well, because first of all, I'm very pro book. You know, a lot of people don't check out the guidebooks, but I think they have great information, and I like hearing like the author's take on things. And also, it could save me a couple of minutes of saying the same shit in different words. Success achievement. This card shows a beautiful spirit holding a golden victory wreath in acknowledgement of your achievement. Success is on its way. You have a sense of pride in what you've worked to accomplish. The achievement may be a greater outer success, or it may be a deep inner change that you've been exerting a lot of effort toward. Enjoy the sense of accomplishment, but be careful not to rest on your laurels. People expect outer triumph to bring great changes, but often there still may be inner work to do. Let yourself be open to victory on every level now. And that makes me think of a quote. I can't remember who said it, but they said, I wish that all of your dreams could come true so you could realize that's not the answer. Like, you could have everything and still not have enough. Like, a great example would be, like, look at billionaires. They're the scapegoat a lot, but, like, am I wrong for scapegoating them? I don't think so. You know, success, you'll never taste the sweetness of success if you never see yourself as successful, or if, you know, everything is like always on to the next. But I definitely think whatever you are desiring, whatever you are yearning to experience, like, you are headed towards success and you have nothing to worry about. But let's talk about what your body needs with this Ace of Wands. Your body needs more energy, and the type of energy that you need may be different for all of you. For some of you, it may be that you have plenty of, because there are different kinds of fatigue. And one thing that I didn't realize until I started grounding and protecting my energy was that I could be physically tired and not be drained. And one thing I learned too is that I had plenty of physical energy, but I couldn't ever tap into it because I was so fatigued all the time. So if you don't do anything to protect your energy and you recognize yourself as being energetically sensitive, grounding and protecting meditations could be really great. Charlotte from Happy Souls has a great grounding and protection meditation. If you just look up like Happy Souls 1111 grounding meditation, you'll find it. But you could need passion, you could need inspiration, you could need something to look forward to, or you could need physical rest. The type of energy that your body needs is going to depend on you and what you are sensing. So for some of you, I feel like for a lot of you, a lot of what you're needing is not the energy itself, but the inspiration that will give you the energy. So if your body needs inspiration, doing creative things, spending time with people that light you up, doing things that get you out of your head and get moving, opportunities to create, especially if you are wanting to try a new creative endeavor, like that could be a great thing. I just heard crochet, so for some of you, you may want to be on your crochet grind. I don't know. I want to do crochet. I have a little thing that I bought like years ago to try crochet, which is, I'm just remembering now because I mentioned that. So that could be something. It doesn't have to be something wild, but also it could be as simple as giving yourself the time and space that you need to get adequate rest so that you have the energy to act on your inspirations. It could also just be faith in what inspires you, and that you don't have to like shit all over every idea you have, that you can just act on them and accept that they won't be what they look like in your head and that they won't be perfect, but that's okay. You know, everybody's a critic, but not everybody is an artist. And I think the saddest thing is that everybody could be an artist if they wanted to. You know, art has no limits or barriers. It's just creation, right? And, you know, I think some of the loudest critics have the most neglected inner artist. And I think that if you are feeling heavily critical of yourself, one thing that your body needs is less criticism. Like, criticism is exhausting, and a lot of people feel they need to be like, you know, the nexus of criticism. I don't think that's how you use the word nexus, but then that's a fair criticism of me. Sometimes I use words and they don't make sense. But that's okay. That doesn't invalidate the entire reading, does it? That's how you should kind of view your minor mistakes and things like that. Like, nothing is ever going to be perfect, because nothing is perfect. But if you were meant to be perfect, you wouldn't be here at all. And truthfully, it's your imperfections that do make you perfect, because they're what make you you. Anyway, anything that can get you inspired, get you going. For some of you, I'm just going to put this bluntly. You may need to masturbate, or, you know, have fun times with someone you love and trust, and that is consenting. You may need to just come. That is an actual interpretation of the Ace of Wands, and it is one that not only feels good, but can be a release. And if you've got a lot of pent-up energy, a good old release can help that as well. And that's an excellent form of self-love. So you may need to do that, and more power to you. Okay, let's look at what your mind needs. The Two of Cups. This is really sweet. What your mind needs is, number one, more compassion towards itself, because I definitely think that part of the reason this energy of jealousy or envy may be manifesting is because you believe that you are somehow different from the people that you see as having more than you, or you are afraid of receiving negativity for what you have and not seeing that it's not about you. What your mind really needs is more love and communion with you. I feel like your mind sometimes is like stuck in a desert where it's either running on empty or it's just left to its own devices in a way where it kind of rules over you rather than supports you. You know, even it, like, you can be consciously aware of like, oh, I'm so grateful for what I have, and like, look at all these blessings. And then your mind might kind of run off with, yeah, but what if we lose all of it? What if it's not good enough? Like, you know, what if we're doing something wrong? What if we lose everything? And may just be like running away from you. And the reality may be that even though you consciously know these things, your mind gets in the way, and you may just need to make your mind more of a friend. With this Two of Cups energy, your mind may also need someone to talk to and share with. So if you have a partner and are in a relationship, that might be a good person to talk to. But it doesn't have to be someone you're in a relationship with. Anyone that you love and trust and that you feel a sense of kindred, if you feel like they're a kindred spirit and they have your best interests at heart, your mind may just need to open up about these things so that, you know, someone who has perspective on your life and has perspective on what is beneficial for you and what isn't, and what is realistic and what is delusional, like, that might be really helpful. I want to clarify this Two of Cups, though. Can you clarify this Two of Cups? What does pile 3's mind need? We have the Moon. So I think what your mind needs is to let go of a lot of fears and illusions around your lovability, what you deserve. I feel like there is this element where when your mind goes unchecked, it creates stories and fear that aren't the truth. And even if you know they're not the truth, they still hurt, or they're still frustrating, or because you don't have enough evidence to counter otherwise, it remains, and it just may create unnecessary stress. And I feel like your own fears may create this idea like other people won't be able to understand you, or other people won't be able to hold value in the same way you hold value to certain things. And I feel like one thing you need to know is that you don't know, and that's okay. I feel like what your mind needs is the safety and freedom and permission from yourself to just be more open and be more like authentic, even if you don't know where that's going to lead to. Because I feel like one of the lessons your mind is needing to learn is that it's not as isolated and separate as it believes itself to be, and it's not as dumb or useless as it thinks of itself to be. In fact, a lot of people could benefit from hearing what your mind has to say. A lot of people could benefit from knowing that they're not alone in having certain feelings like that. You know, I also think though that your mind just needs your heart to listen to it and show it love, because I wouldn't be shocked if you beat yourself up for having negative thoughts, or beat yourself up for not being grateful. Like, and I think that's kind of one of the things with gratitude that's hard, is like, you know, we can be grateful for life and still want more for ourselves. We can be grateful for life and still be having a bad time. You know, those things don't have to, gratitude does not always have to exist with joy, but it can make life, like if life is hard, it can make it a little easier. I feel like your mind really needs close confidants that you can open up to and trust. And if you don't have that, you may want to watch pile 2 if you feel drawn to it. And if you do, please open up to them, because you may be shocked at how much they relate, or how much their input could help you see more clearly. It's like, it's a lot scarier to walk down a dark path by yourself than it is with someone who loves and cares for you. You know what I mean? So, and even if that is someone that you hire, like a counselor or something like that, to really just talk to, I feel like that could be useful. But on a personal level, taking other people out of it, what your mind needs is more compassion towards yourself in general, and more connection with yourself. I feel like your mind needs to consciously understand aspects of your being you don't fully understand yet. And I can't give you the tools to do that, because everyone does that differently. But, you know, there are like journals that can help you get to know yourself. There are, you know, you can use things like tarot. You can use things like writing, whatever it may be. It's like, I feel like you need to see yourself outside of yourself, but you're not going to be able to do that accurately if you're just going to judge whatever comes out. So I really think treating yourself the way you would someone you love and care about, and realize like what's coming out of you is not bad or shameful simply because it's you. The shame already exists within you, and you're projecting it outward. That's what really needs to be healed. What your mind needs to understand is that you are flawed, you are imperfect, and you are human, and that's fucking awesome, and you're fucking awesome, and you shouldn't be beating yourself up as much as you are for just being human and having human feelings and tendencies and belief systems. Like, when you are projecting things outward, you have to remember that there's something inward that needs your attention, and that outward projection is showing you that. I also think it could be helpful for you to remember and realize, like, it is not useful or beneficial for you to compare yourself, especially to others, because you don't see what's going on with them. You don't know what's happening in their life. And also, you know, there are ways that you could be connecting more deeply with yourself and others that you're not currently doing, because you may be judging yourself, or you may be like ashamed of having these feelings in the first place, and that's not helpful. Your mind needs you as a friend, not as a place of criticism. And you might be like, well, that's funny for my mind to say, because my mind is the one always criticizing. And that's why you work together, and to be compassionate, and instead of being judgmental, be discerning. Discernment is not rooted in judgment. It's rooted in assessment of what is aligned with you and what isn't. And rather than judging the thing as being for you or not for you, you can just say, rather than judging a thing because it's not for you, or judging a thing because it's someone else's thing, you can just be like, oh, that's not my thing. I'm going to move towards what is my thing. But I also think if you are wanting a relationship or wanting a deeper friendship or something like that with someone, what your mind needs is the confidence to know that it can have that. And not only can it have that, it deserves that. You know, you may be reinforcing the subconscious belief that you don't deserve connection, or that, you know, you can only find this through specific sources or specific people. And maybe that's stopping you from connecting with others in a more empowering way. I definitely think more than anything, though, your mind needs more love and just more understanding and to be listened to. That's kind of been a theme in some of the readings. You know, you need to be seen and heard. And your mind, what I feel like what your mind needs most is reprogramming. Did one of you think a lobotomy? Because that just popped into my head, and I'm like, that's funny, but no. You don't need a lobotomy. What you need is more kindness. And I think more than anything, like, just a willingness to sit with yourself and to listen to what your brain is telling you, and look at it on a piece of paper, or hear it coming out of your mouth, or hear you telling this to someone else and be like, oh, that's not the truth. And oh yeah, I can't believe that was in there. You know, one thing that I find is, like, when I open up to the homies that, like, I can just be really real with, I'll be like, damn, I didn't even realize I was carrying all that. Like, it was just bubbling under my bubbling in my subconscious, like, causing me to feel certain ways, and I didn't even understand why. And then I find oftentimes, like, the person I'm talking to about that is dealing with, like, the same thing, maybe in different circumstances, but, like, it's mutually helpful. And I feel like one of the biggest things is that your mind needs to let go of the fear of being rejected, or, you know, your humanness not being accepted, because that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means the person you were sharing with has discomfort around those aspects of self, and it's probably because it's within them and they judge and shame themselves. Like, what your mind needs to understand is that you are everyone and everyone is you. You are never truly separate. You get the beautiful experience of being your own self, but you're part of a greater collective, and you're not as unlovable, unworthy, or ununderstandable than you think. And maybe part of you is afraid of opening up about certain things because it's like, well, what if I'm judged, or what if people can't understand? And if they can't, that's the beautiful thing. You get to, like, show people a window into your conscious experience. But I feel like you're massively overestimating how critical and judgmental people will be of you. And I feel like more than anything, you're going to find that people are far more accepting and understanding. But I definitely think that there is a part of you that really believes that you can't have certain things, and that is really shooting yourself in the foot. It's like you have 2 great feet, and you're like, and your goal is to, like, walk to the other side of the room, and you're like, okay, walk to the other side of the room. Oh, well, I don't deserve to be on the other side of the room. I hate my feet. And then you just, like, shoot your foot. And then you're like, oh, why is it so hard to get to the other side of the room? I want to be on the other side of the room. And the universe is like, well, then why'd you shoot your foot? Like, I'm not saying you're doing that, but there may be things that you are doing that make sense to your fear brain, that to your empowered, loving brain are like, oh yeah, that's pretty, like, antithetical to what we're trying to achieve. Like, you know, for example, if you are trying to focus on having a more positive mindset and you spend all your time on social media, not that there's not positive things on social media, but there's a lot of negative things, you know, that might be an example of metaphorically shooting yourself in the foot. And it may be that you have to decompress and get away from that stuff, because it can just seep into your psyche in ways that you don't realize until later. Let's look at what your heart needs. The Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so your heart needs more trust in the cycles of life and trust in the goodness that's coming your way. Your heart also needs a reminder that highs and lows are inevitable. But I feel like any highs you have experienced, you haven't been able to fully enjoy because there's unhealed wounds and unhealed feelings of shame, trauma that have kind of been making you afraid to even like get in touch with yourself or enjoy things because you feel like they'll be gone. And things do come and go, and being attached to things, yeah, can create more pain. But I feel like what your heart needs to know is that you're exactly where you need to be, and that its dreams aren't stupid, its desires aren't silly, and in fact, it's not working alone. Your heart is not alone. There are other people who love you, whether you see it or not. And the universe loves you so much, it is willing to allow you to have whatever experience you believe. And if you believe that you are unworthy, if you believe that you can never get better, if you believe that you will always have less, that is what you are going to receive. And that's not to shame you and be like, for having those belief systems are incredibly common. And if you have had experiences, and it's even harder when we're having like challenging experiences, difficult financial situations, things like that, it's normal and understandable. I'm not saying that you are to blame for your belief systems, but what I am saying is that you can always choose to change them. Even if you have no evidence otherwise, you can still choose to change them. That's the cool thing about belief systems. If you don't like it and it doesn't work, you can always change it. But I feel like this Wheel of Fortune is speaking to also the fact that there are cycles of your life that you're not in anymore, that probably were very challenging, that are clouding your ability to enjoy what you have now and where you're at now. In fact, I don't think you affirm the person that you are. I think you affirm the person you used to be. And that's keeping you not only stuck in the past, but feeling unable to embrace yourself as authentically as you could, because you're not even seeing yourself accurately. You're not even seeing how awesome you are and how much you've grown and the person you've become. Your heart needs to know that life will stretch it. Life will cause it to feel hard and difficult things, but by being in your heart, you also can feel the highs of bliss and ecstasy and excitement. Hence, the body needs coming back. But you can do that in so many different ways. And I feel like there are opportunities for you to enjoy what you've already reaped right now that you may deny yourself because you feel like you don't deserve it, or you're too focused and stuck on what you're not doing or what you suck at. And you know what? I'm covering up this card because you are here. You are meant to be like, you are already victorious, already. It's a matter of seeing and believing and trusting that's important. But your heart has wisdom that you have to surrender and trust to. And sometimes your heart is going to ask you to do uncomfortable things, like open up to someone, or, you know, put yourself out there in a way where you may face rejection. And I'm not saying like that may not hurt, but like that's part of the human experience, and that's part of putting yourself out there. Rejection is part of it. But I promise, like, there will be people that need to see you, that need to hear you, that need to meet you, and they can't if you're stuck. Your heart needs to know that it is worth caring for and honoring and protecting and allowing it to lead for once. I think that would be really beneficial for you. And one thing that your heart also needs to know is that when it sees other people gaining the desires that it wants, to know that those desires are much closer to them than they think. A rising tide raises all ships, and your heart has support and guidance beyond what you can consciously understand. Your heart is connected to a great network of beings that love you and support you unconditionally, and to know you are never disconnected from those. And it doesn't matter what part of the wheel you are at, whether you are at a high or at a low. You know, when you are centered in your heart and able to love yourself no matter what, it makes the lows a lot easier to manage and the highs a lot easier to embrace. You won't be on cloud 9 forever, but you won't be at rock bottom forever. And hopefully, you know, you get less rock bottom and more cloud 9 the more you embrace joy and gratitude into your conscious experience. But I don't think gratitude doesn't just have to be like, oh, I'm grateful for, you know, my house. It can be things like, I'm grateful that life exists. I'm grateful that, and if you're not grateful for that, watch a nature documentary. Go outside. Like, find things to be grateful for outside of yourself. Like, I find that can be beneficial. But also just being grateful that you're alive. I know that can be hard sometimes, but life is precious and worth it, and you are precious and worth it, and your life is precious and worth it. And the most important thing that you need to be fixed on is the reality that you are deserving of everything that you are desiring in your heart. And the less you attach your worth to what that outcome is or how it shows up, the better. And the less you beat yourself up and talk down to yourself, the better. Keep yourself fixed on the reality you want to experience, and give yourself permission to feel that. And to, because I really feel like there is a part of you that is almost unwilling to see how great things could be, because what if I spent all that time in a negative space for nothing? And there's nothing shameful about being in a negative space. Like, negativity is contagious, and sometimes you're gonna catch a cold. But you can always shift that. And I feel like what your heart needs to know as well is that sometimes you may feel like you're at rock bottom, and it may just be the awareness in yourself that, like, no, actually we're kind of like over here, or like actually things are a lot better than we realize. And you can shift immediately into a greater experience by just recognizing where you're at and what you have. Because I think it is more than anything conditioning that belief that things will always be bad, conditioning that, you know, you have to work harder than others to deserve something, conditioning that makes you believe that you have to prove your worth. You are already worthy. You are already successful. You are already more than enough, and you already have enough. And that acknowledgement and understanding will help you take the next steps, move forward, and not only appreciate what you have, but not look back with nostalgia, being like, oh, I wish I had appreciated that more. There are things that you have now that you may not have in the future. Like, for example, your youth. Well, we're all young at heart, but you know, your body does change. And there could be things that you're capable of doing now that you may not be able to do in 20 years or even 5. So, like, you know, being grateful for what you have when you have it is important, because life's never perfect, but it can be perfect for you. And I think that's what really matters. And to know that, like, you are so loved, and you are so okay. Everything isn't going to be better than okay. And, like, you deserve beautiful things. You deserve a beautiful life. But if you can't see how you already have that, it's going to be really hard for you to recognize it when you receive it. So let's see what your spirit needs from you. We have the 8 of Swords. Yeah, your spirit needs you to get out of your head and stop feeling so trapped. You know, the 8 of Swords is all about being stuck in a mental prison of our own creation. And it's really hard to hear your spirit. It's really hard to hear your truth when you're stuck there. And like I say all the time, anxiety screams, intuition whispers. And your spirit is like screaming at you, but you can't really hear it because you're stuck in your head. And I think if you're getting stuck in, like, avoidance tendencies, like whatever maladaptive coping mechanisms you have to kind of avoid the chaos in your mind, your spirit really needs you to focus on that and to sit with the discomfort of being stuck in your head, because that's what's going to help you get out of it, but also help you realize you're not trapped and you're not stuck. And if you need a buddy, like, get a buddy. Ask a buddy to help. Ask a buddy to hang out. Like, you don't have to do everything alone, but, like, more often than not, people will have no idea you're going through or dealing with something if you don't say it, you know? But I also think your spirit just needs you to trust yourself more, and trust that you've got everything that you need, and you've got the wisdom and the ability to walk a path that is uncomfortable and unfamiliar to you. In fact, you might even learn to embrace the discomfort and embrace, you know, the uncertainty. I feel like that's what makes life more real and more worth it. There is a part of you that may be detached from your experience because you're afraid of what might happen if you really gave your all. And I think that your spirit is really urging you to test that theory and start feeling more deeply. Because yes, the lows might feel lower, but the highs will feel much higher. And not only that, when you're able to give yourself love during those lows, it makes them not so difficult. And it's less likely that your mind is going to create stories about what's happening. It still may, but it may be easier for you to discern that they're not the truth. So with that being said, let's go ahead now and start shuffling guidance. So Spirit, and that's the thing too, is, you know, the Ace of Wands can also be about, like, Wands is the spirit element. It's also fire, but fire and spirit. So, like, you know, you're getting stuck in your head might be causing your your inspiration and just like your inner fire to diminish, because you're literally putting it out. Yeah, okay. And that's an excellent example of where, you know, maybe just getting out of your head is I'm not going to say that, that's dirty, but just, you know, getting out of your head and getting into your body in a way we talked about earlier. That could be a great way to do that. You know, getting out of your head doesn't have to be a miserable experience. It can be joyful. Okay. Pile 3, Spirit. What guidance do you have for them when it comes to embracing this Ace of Wands energy in their body? Spirit is a sense of humor. We have gratitude. The trigger statement is, I am overwhelmed, and the true statement is, I am moving. The time for planning is complete. Take action, no matter how small. Begin today. Yeah, I definitely think that you, like, if you are just like overthinking things and stuck in inaction, I think just getting moving could be a really helpful tool to getting out of that. And, you know, be grateful for how powerful your mind is, that, you know, it can be so powerful, it can make you feel like you can't take the next step forward. When you apply that in positive ways, I can't even imagine what cool shit you're going to create and what cool thoughts you're going to think and what cool experiences you're going to have with your consciousness. You deserve that. Okay. Honestly, and here's what I will say too. If you've made it to this part in the reading, I want to see you comment a giraffe emoji if you made it to this part of the reading, because there are people that clicked off the video as soon as they saw that NB card. You didn't. You have the balls to face the truth, because guess what? The truth doesn't make you unlovable. Having these energies, no matter how they apply to you, does not make you a bad person. It makes you human, and it is a normal human thing. And some people cannot accept that, but you can. And I know that you are ready to shift into a different energy or release what is causing this energy within you. And you deserve a gold star for sticking around, because that just goes to show, like, you're not only willing to let others be real with you. Like, if you can let me sit here and give you this message, which honestly is not a bad message at all, I think it's been really great. You can face yourself and love yourself enough to move through whatever is causing you discomfort. Like, you deserve that. Less criticism, more compassion. Pile 3's mind, Spirit. What do they need at this time? What does their mind need at this time? We have adaptable with the theme of liberated. The trigger statement is, what happens next? And the true statement is, I am divinely connected. Dear soul, remember that you never walk alone. And didn't I say that? Like, and that's the thing. That's why your spirit is like, bro, I've got so much inspiration for you, but I cannot reach you because you are on the brain phone screaming into the abyss. Can you listen for like 10 seconds, please? And if you can't, that is when you need to seek help. Or just seek resources. We've never had more resources at our fingertips. And sometimes it just kind of pains me when I see people asking questions in my comment section that they could just put into Google, or just like an ounce of resourcefulness. That's not criticizing. Like, you're free to ask questions here. You just may not get them answered. Hopefully, but you know, sometimes we forget how much we really have in terms of finding the resources that we need, finding help. And I think there's so much help available to you that you've been unable to see because you're so focused on why you don't deserve that help or why it can't come to you, and it's just not true. You are free. You are not trapped. What does pile 3's heart need? And that's the thing too, is like, if you can't share this with other people, at the very least sharing it with the universe, with a tree, with your higher self. Like, they're not going to tell anyone. They're not going to judge you. They love you. And maybe just hearing yourself out loud. Number one, I think talking to trees can be important, because if you take yourself too seriously, it can be important to remember, like, this tree's been here probably longer than I've been born, and it has wisdom I may never understand. Trees are conscious, trees are alive, and trees will keep your secrets. Okay. Pile 3's heart, Spirit. What guidance do you have for their heart? So we have the theme of ignite. The trigger statement is, where do I go from here? And the true statement is, I allow life to flow through me. Inspiration has arrived and will work through you as you move forward. So I definitely feel like if you're like, I don't have inspiration, I think the inspiration you have right now is to deal with what's making you believe you can't ever get inspiration again, or that inspiration is dodging you. Whatever, I feel like the inspiration you have right now is to get in your golden mindset. And I guess your golden mindset is whatever makes you feel empowered and courageous enough to move through the fear and do the things that you are called to, say the things that you feel called to say, make the changes you feel called to make, and to realize that there is no failure. All there is learning. What about their spirit? What does pile 3's spirit need? What guidance? Okay, we have tangerine with innocence. The trigger statement is, I have so much to do, and the true statement is, I am playful. Let the burdens of responsibility go in this moment and look at your world with the eyes of a child. Yeah, one thing you may want to practice is compartmentalizing and being able to set things to the side long enough to, you know, enjoy a moment or enjoy an experience. Like, I'm doing that through yoga. Like, I'm trying to practice being as focused and centered on myself as possible, which is challenging. I'm not succeeding very well, but my mind wanders a lot, but I'm getting better at it. And like, that's what's important. And I also think that a lot of your stress comes from the fact that you don't give yourself time to play and have fun. You don't give yourself time to do silly, frivolous things. We all need time to do silly, frivolous things. I literally, with these little guys, I made a photo shoot with them, like, as friends, like, and it was so much fun. All it did was serve my sweet little heart. And then I sent it to a bunch of my friends and was like, want to see something cool? And they all thought it was very cool. So, you know, never underestimate the power of your silly little ideas and just the things that light your heart on fire. Your responsibilities will always be there. Like, if you don't give yourself the time and space to just enjoy and play and do things like solely for you, you're gonna have a bad time. But you can be playful with anything. For example, the erasers. You really don't need to hold yourself down. But on the back of the deck, we have awareness, with the trigger statement being, I never get what I want, and the true statement being, I am a powerful creator. And you are. You literally have this magic wand. It is your body. And you can trust it. And it's guided by your heart and spirit. And your mind will start to receive lots more love, because it will start to consciously recognize where it already exists. And it will be less harsh on itself for being critical of itself and realizing, I don't need to be critical of myself. I'm a pure being that has done nothing wrong. And if you think about that, yeah, it makes less sense on a human level, but on a spiritual level, you are a pure soul who's never done anything wrong. So just tell yourself that. And forgive yourself for the wrongs that you have done. And if you do need to make amends, do that. The true statement is, I'm a powerful creator. Listen to your inner voice, release your ideas of the outcome you wish to see, and trust that you are aligned with the universe. This is so important. So we are going to go ahead and finish this reading off with a final message. And I know that, like, a lot of what I'm saying is easier said than done, but you can do it. I know you can. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting this message. Okay, Spirit, what final guidance would you like to leave pile 3 with? What do they need to know at this time for their highest good? These are not easy to shuffle. Okay. We have the Dove. Peace, reassurance, resolution. Peace rises gently from within my heart, and my path is blessed with grace. And you had that path thing twice. You are blessed with grace, and you that path to this golden victory is right in front of you. And I don't even think you have to take a step. I think you literally just have to realize, I'm already on the path. I'm already here, and now it just unfolds. Hand your worries to the Divine Feminine. Trust that she knows how to create solutions without force or aggression. You have the ability to settle your mind by tuning into your heart and letting go. Don't wait for things to be in order before you feel at peace. Sorry if you heard my... Oh, maybe that was a motorcycle. I don't know what that was. It's either my dryer or a motorcycle. Don't wait for things to be in order before you feel at peace. Give yourself peace and trust in your heart right now. Even the most daunting problems can be resolved more gracefully when you Even the most daunting problems can be resolved more gracefully than you realize. Letting go will bring resolution more quickly and graciously. The Divine Feminine is reassuring you that all is well. All is well, and everything's gonna be okay, my dude. And 3 Little Birds might be a song you want to listen to, because every little thing's gonna be all right. But just know you are so worthy of what you're desiring and more, and that you're already headed down that path, and you deserve the peace now to know that your future is unfolding in the perfect time, in the perfect way, and you deserve to enjoy the you that you are now and love that version of yourself, no matter how flawed it may be. So pile 3, that's where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show support and appreciation for my channel, so thank you to everyone who does that. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video. That's super helpful. You can comment down below and let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. You can check out my merch. You can check out my other videos, especially ones with extendeds. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. Shout out to my notification squad. I love you guys. If you want me to see your comments, I usually see when I first upload. But who knows? You never know when I might see something. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 4. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose little Elmer the elephant, now all the buddies are reunited, and the Wild Unknown Tarot and the Luminary, or Light Code Luminary Oracle, then this is going to be your reading on what you need to know right now. So we're going to start by shuffling a card from the Oracle deck that you chose, and based on what is in this card, if it doesn't resonate at all and you're like, I don't need to know that, then I would try a different pile. But if the card resonates and you're like, yeah, I needed to know that, then hello, welcome. You have found the right place. Congratulations on having good taste, by the way. You should like this video if you have good taste. Anyway, let's go ahead and see. Spirit, what does pile 4 need to know at this time for their highest good? A little bit of hesitations that came out. Wonder if you're feeling any right now. Ooh, we have awakening. Things are getting weird, aren't they? Ooh, oh my god, look at how similar these looks to my nails. I wish I had like the direct flashlight on, because then you could see how hollow they are, but like by hollow I mean holographic. But this is really cool, and I'm just gonna read straight from the book for this card, because there's usually better information there than what I can pull out of my mouth hole. So, your consciousness is rising and expanding. Powerful waves of change and activation are blanketing the planet now. These high-frequency waves are increasing personal and collective consciousness levels and allowing humanity to perceive the world and reality in a new light. Expanded awareness and a massive influx of light are revealing more truth on every level. This awakening facilitates a new understanding of yourself and the world around you, broadens your horizons, and helps you to gain a better understanding of who you are. This invites you and others to take your growth and healing to another level by digging deeper into self-discovery and practicing new levels of discernment that reflect your expanding consciousness. Like thawing seeds, long dormant parts of you are waking up, activating, and seeking expression. While this may at times feel foreign or overwhelming to you, know that you can have a direct relationship with and nurture these parts as they unfold and evolve. As you and the planet continue to increase in frequency, all that is hidden, suppressed, and unacknowledged is being exposed. This includes that which is in your personal energy field and Earth's larger planetary field. The time of suppression and secrets is ending as the veils of illusion lift. This is a natural and positive process. However, it is normal to experience discomfort, fear, or even shock regarding to what is being uncovered. Trust that this revelation and clearing process is necessary for your highest healing, evolution, and expansion. It takes courage to delve into the truth of who you are and be honest about your genuine feelings and desires. Know that you are supported by your higher self in those higher realms during this awakening and healing process. And this light code activates an acceleration and deepening of your personal awakening. You are invited to open to new insights and realizations about your identity, mission, and gifts. This can be a vulnerable time. Be gentle with yourself. New insights and perspectives will prompt you to let go of what no longer serves you. Acknowledge any personal fears that arise concerning your growth and expansion. Such feelings are valid and normal. Try to observe them without judgment. This helps you to identify, release, and heal any aspects of you that are resistant to change or holding you back. So this is beautiful, and I'm so excited for you. And so if you've been looking for an answer to like, why have I felt so weird, or why are things shifting so dramatically, I think it's because of this. And it may be for some of you, if you're like, I don't feel like I've awakened anymore. Well, one, awakening is like a process that never ends. And also, even once you've awakened, it's normal and common to fall back asleep sometimes. I often equate it to like spiritual amnesia, where there are just things that I know to be true, but I just forget them. And the more deeply I go into like old programming, just the harder it is for me to remember those truths. But then like once I'm in a position where I'm opening myself up to like my greater spiritual awareness, it's like, oh yeah, I could have like just shifted into greater peace, or I could have just done this, or I forgot that was a thing. And everything is okay. I feel like that's the biggest thing you need to know, is that everything is okay. And obviously, if you are experiencing changes, especially biologically, don't immediately write those off as just like spiritual stuff. If you can, and something is like worrying you, if it's not bad or uncomfortable, then you don't need to do anything. But you may want to check and make sure, like on a biological level, everything is okay. If you are worried about something and you're wondering if it's just a spiritual thing or a biological thing, I know that is a tough ask, especially if you live in the United States with health. But honestly, I don't know if healthcare is really easy or manageable to navigate anywhere in the world. So I don't know, I can't sequester it to one place, but at least in the US, it's quite expensive. But if you can and you have the means to do so, and it would bring you more peace, it could be helpful to like get certain things checked out if they've been an area of worry for you. But if not, like, I think that you're really being called to just flow with things right now and not be too judgmental of what you're experiencing. I feel like your conscious mind could really be writing off certain elements of what you're experiencing right now because it seems weird, or you're conditioned to look at them in a certain way. Like, for example, seeing synchronicities as confirmation bias. Like, yeah, it is confirmation bias, but confirmation bias is also just the term we humans have come up with for seeing synchronicity. One of them, kind of puts the onus on the individual, and the other is more referencing like the experience that comes from seeing signs and seeing things out in the world that have meaning to you. Neither of them are wrong, they're just interpreted differently, but they're really kind of the same thing. So I think that if you can, one of the best things that you could do for yourself right now is not question so deeply about what everything means and where this is leading to, and rather just be present with the process. Because I do feel like, when it comes to awakening, there are times where we just need more time for like rest, or we're just really out of sorts in the sense of like we may not be in our regular routine, or we may be called to different things and different experiences. I've also found too, like, sometimes we're integrating energies from like past lives and past experiences, and we can be really drawn to like certain cultures or certain things or phenomena that we normally wouldn't be. And usually once that energy is integrated, it may dissipate, it may not. But I guess the point of my rambling is to say, don't write off your experiences, don't judge them as weird. Instead, just embrace this ride and see where it's taking you. Because I feel like in the ways that you're waking up, yeah, it might be kind of disturbing in some contexts, like the things that you're realizing and coming to terms with, but also there's so much freedom that is coming to you through this process. And like, I actually think a key word for you is freedom. Freedom from the past, freedom from self-inflicted chains, freedom from caring so much about what others think of you and how the world sees you, freedom from feeling the need to prove yourself or have others validate your perception of the world. I feel like one of the things you're waking up to is the power of your own validation and the power of your own trust in yourself and in your experiences. And actually, this is such a perfect message too, because you guys picked the Wild Unknown Tarot, which not only is a great deck, but all Kim Cran's decks are fantastic. If you're leaning towards getting any decks, like especially her Oracle decks, I use them all the time and I think they're fantastic. Maybe not the best deck to learn tarot from, because the guidebook is like much more like the cards from her perspective, which is not a bad thing at all. But if you're wanting to learn, like, generally speaking, like Rider-Waite structure or something, it may not be the most useful, but it's still good, still great deck. Anyway, you know, I do feel like you are entering the wild unknown, and that is a beautiful and awesome thing. And I even feel like the fact that you picked the elephant is quite significant, because elephants are removers of obstacles. They make me think of Lord Ganesha. They also make me think of just the wisdom and maturity that, like, the elephants seem to represent. Also compassion. I love all this for you. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle your tarot now, and we are going to look, and I love this message too, because I feel like it'll be especially useful for this group. We're going to be looking at what your body needs, what your mind needs, what your heart needs, and what your spirit needs at this time to just be aligned with your highest good. So Spirit, what does pile 4's body need at this time as they support themselves through this process of awakening, please? And just in general. Okay, we got 2 for that. Let's see what they are. Oh yeah, we've got the Hermit and the 8 of Swords. That makes sense. Make sure. Are those in the frame? Yes. Okay, good. I would be so sad if they weren't. What does pile 4, what does their mind need at this time as they support themselves through this awakening? Interesting. You are not the only group where the 2 of Cups came out in this pile. So if you're drawn to any other piles, you may want to check that out, but I'm going to get a clarifier for this. Ooh, cool. Okay. So, what does pile... Oh, I kept them all covered for the other group, so you didn't see these. Okay, I can't talk. Oh my goodness. Okay. Gotta get the babbles out, I guess. What does pile 4's heart need at this time? What does pile 4's heart need? Wow, you guys are getting doubles. Doubles all the way. And finally, what does pile 4's spirit need at this time? For that one, we get 1 card. Okay, let's start with what your body needs. Okay, with this 9 of Swords being on the back of the deck, I just like want you to know everything is gonna be okay. If you feel there is ancient dread in you, which is a mood, I do think part of this awakening process is helping clear that. But let's start with your body. One thing you may need is alone time, and not just alone time in the sense where you are physically apart from other people, but alone time where you are disconnected from like artificial sources of light, like the internet, like media, because we can be alone and isolated and still be very connected to the world around us in unhealthy ways. And I think that there may be kind of avoidance right now of going within, because you may not want to deal with like everything that's going on internally. It's kind of like, you know how at night, like trees can make really creepy shadows and it can look like something scary is outside, but then when you turn the lights on, you just see that it's the tree projecting like a shadow. I kind of feel like that's how you're feeling about your inner world, where it's almost like maybe you haven't meditated in a long time, or maybe you haven't connected to your greater spiritual wisdom, and it's like you may be feeling like a kid who's preparing to get chewed out by an authority figure for being irresponsible, or for being for doing not what you thought you were supposed to be doing, which I guess in this case you may have felt like you've needed constant spiritual presence, or if you've fallen back on certain habits and behaviors that serve you, but it's just been easier to do what is easier. Like, I feel like there's almost this resistance to going within because of fears of what you'll see. And I'm hearing that that's not as scary as you feel. And in fact, the things that you're fearing, and like entering your inner world, paying attention to what's actually going on, you're not going to be punished for that. And also, if you do have a greater connection to spirits and things like that, it is very important to make sure the quality of what you're interacting with. A genuinely loving spirit will never shame you, will never judge you, will never berate you. The best spirits to commune with are the ones that I prefer, are beings of unconditional love, and that love you unconditionally. And part of unconditional love is not beating you up for being human. The beings that wish to connect with you, and you'll know if there are, you don't even need to consciously know who they are, but part of this awakening clearly is happening in your body, where you are learning to forge a deeper inner temple within your own body. It reminds me of Shirka from Berserk. I don't recommend that if you are sensitive to violence, but I got through it because the story's good, and also immaculately written and drawn. And yeah, anyway, she talks about being a magician and saying that the magician's temple is not in a church, it's within them. And so I feel like that's something that you're building, is that inner temple where you can honor your truths no matter where you are and what you're experiencing. You don't have to go to a physical place in order to experience worship, or you don't have to act in a certain way in order to be worthy of receiving grace or receiving insight or being connected to yourself. I feel like there's a massive amount of overthinking when it comes to what you think you should be doing, when the reality is that there's a need for you to just be more still and flow. I feel like if you've had particularly challenging mental states recently, I feel like these mental states, and I actually got this in another pile, so I don't know if some of the groups are connected, but there's this energy of the mind kind of over catastrophizing and getting really intense, the same way a child throws a tantrum when they need help and are overstimulated, but they don't know how to communicate that. I feel like if you resonate with the idea of your brain really making it hard for you to go within, or making it hard for you to honor your inner rhythms, I feel like that's a sign even more that you need to go within, that you need to spend time with yourself, that you need to sit in stillness. Your body really needs time to meditate and connect with you. And obviously not all meditation has to be just sitting there. You do meditation through yoga, meditation through walking, meditation through dance. You can have physical forms of meditation. So if that works better, please do so. But what your body needs is connection to your inner light, and time on its own to just kind of work through all that these shifts are requiring of you. I definitely feel like with this Eight of Swords here, you may be trying to do that already, but it seems like your mind is making it hard for you to fully immerse yourself in what you're doing or trust in what you're experiencing. And then on top of it, you may be feeling guilty for pulling away from people or pulling away from experiences. But the thing is this is temporary. You're not going to be in this hermit mode forever, but it can be more important. It's almost the way I'm hearing it is a spiritual form of quarantine, where it's you have energies that you're integrating and distilling, and obviously everybody else has their own energy bodies, and that's why cities can be more toxic energetically, because there's just a lot more energy, and people And, you know, things that aren't unconditionally loving do like to attach to humans and their energy, and not all the time, but, you know, there's a lot going on that our five senses don't necessarily perceive. And, you know, so especially if you live in a city, it might be like really important for you to find a place in nature, or just find time to be alone and really honor your inner rhythms, because it could be that like by avoiding what you're needing to do, and then also by forcing yourself into situations where you may be more vulnerable, or just may not be in the right state of mind or the right place energetically to be receiving those sorts of people and energies, it could just be more harmful for you. So I feel like what you really need is to give yourself unapologetic permission to listen to what your body needs and flow with that. I also think you need to give yourself more credit for how hard you've already worked, and the fact that like you already are a spiritual person. You don't need to be doing spiritual stuff every day in order to do that. But like it certainly does help to have that routine, and like have those sources, like those abilities to connect to spirit, you know, whenever you're needing it every day. But you're not a bad person if you don't, and like you're not doing something wrong if you don't. Like I think that there's just a lot of doubting yourself and your own needs, and doubting what the universe is asking of you, what your body is asking of you. And I think one thing that you're forgetting is that your body is naturally connected to not only your spirit but the greater world around you, and you can trust your inclinations, you can trust what you're feeling more than you think. I think the hardest thing right now is just giving yourself permission to trust yourself, but more than anything, you need time to go within and connect with your inner light, connect with yourself in whatever way that works for you. I even think too, you don't even have to necessarily do anything consciously, but maybe just being aware of how much noise is going on in the background. Like, can you do a nighttime routine without listening to something, or without needing some sort of external stimulation? Like, it may be too that you're just unable to sense your inner light right now, or sense your inner being, because there's just so much noise going on top of the noise within you that's like trying to process and understand what's happening, and then adding on like the stress of like, oh, I'm not understanding what's happening, and I feel like I'm doing things wrong, and like everything is scary and I don't know what's happening. And I feel like you just need to know that everything is okay. Like, oh man, I wish I could give you a hug, dude. Like, I'm sorry. I know how hard this is. And it's especially isolating too, you know, when these experiences are invalidated by the greater collective, and, you know, we're seen, and these experiences are seen as quite, I just think there's an essence of condescension from people that don't quite understand what this is like, and that's their right. But it is a little bit annoying, and I can understand why it feels hard for you to trust yourself, but that's really what your body needs. That was a long spiel, but I hope that made sense. So what your mind needs, oh my God, did you guys guess what cards were here? We have the Two of Cups and Judgment. So I definitely think what your mind needs is permission to embrace this new period of your life. I feel like your mind needs communion with your heart, and also needs permission to not have to understand. Judgment is really powerful because it is all about transformation, and in the traditional tarot, it depicts the day of the rapture. And I do think you're going through a process of rapture right now, where you are able to break free of duality in a lot of ways and come into deeper bliss within yourself and your own cosmic experience, your own earthly experience, and like combining those. I feel like what your mind needs is to be given permission to start falling in love with life and your experiences, because even if you consciously recognize that you have a great life, or that things are really going well for you, or even if they're not, like, we can still learn to love our experiences. And I would say, if you are the type of person to know that like you have a lot to be grateful for and have a hard time being grateful for it, maybe one of the things holding you back is this feeling like other people have less, or other people are suffering, therefore, you know, I should be feeling bad, I should be, you know, more focused on this, or whatever it may be. It could even be a subconscious response, like I'm not allowed to enjoy my life, or like joy and appreciating my life and perceiving it in a positive way is not allowed, and it is allowed. I feel like your mind needs a more romantic lens, and I don't necessarily mean romance in a traditionally romantic context. I mean more so like romanticizing everything, like romanticizing your life, romanticizing, you know, the beauty that exists in a flower, or just looking at things through a lens of love and appreciation and awe. Like you can find love in anything. Like me, for example, bro, I have been just devouring episodes of Deadliest Catch. Why? I just love commercial fishing. I think it's fascinating, and I wish, and if I had a science brain, I would probably be doing something with like engineering on planes or commercial shipping, because I just think it's so fucking cool. And like, you know, it's one of those things where you don't necessarily expect to find beauty and love in that, but I do. Like it's cool to see like how these cultures are formed around shipping, and like, I don't know, I just like seeing the open waves, man. And also seeing it from the comfort of my own home, where I don't have to be doing that. I love that experience as well. And like, you can literally romanticize anything. Like if I can romanticize commercial fishing, you can romanticize anything. And now that doesn't mean I don't see it realistically. I'm not about to sign up to go on a ship. I would, that's not my environment, but I still have a deep appreciation for it, and like, oh wow, like that shit is so cool. Like there's so many cool things in the world, and you're so cool. And like, that's one thing that I think you forget as well, is like how cool you are and how cool your perceptions are, and like the things that you're interested in. You deserve to embrace those. Anyway, with the Judgment card being here, I feel like there is a part of you that judges, your mind judges the desire to fall, like to look at life with a more romanticized lens, to, you know, be more sensual, to be more soft and nurturing towards yourself. And also maybe like you may have resistance to projecting a kinder nature onto humanity, but that's one red flag I need to call on the play, because everything, most media that communicates to us is projecting a negative perspective onto humanity. And like that worldview just exists so strongly. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist without basis, but there are so many beautiful, amazing, incredible things that are happening all the time that we don't see and don't know about because they're personal. And if they were shared, people would be like, well, why are you sharing it? You're just sharing it because you want people to be nice to you. Like the mamas, like they're always gonna be there. And I think that you need to purge your inner because it's stopping you from enjoying your life, and it's robbing you of your joy. And I feel like your mind just needs permission to not criticize, critique, and ask if you're a bad person for enjoying things. You're not. You deserve to. Like, this life, yes, there's lots of challenges and struggles, but it's also very beautiful, and you deserve to experience more of that beauty. And the cool thing about this awakening is you're stepping deeper into wholeness of your true self, and wholeness of, you are part of the collective of people on this planet and that includes you and I and plenty of other pile fours. If you want to sound off in the comments, we're all in this cool little club that are working to embrace the wholest form of humanity they can find, and be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. You know, I mean, in some ways maybe we will always be part of the problem and others the solution, but at the very least, you consciously making the effort to come into deeper union with yourself, come into deeper union with your reality, and accept the consequences that come from that. One of them being you might feel more isolated or alienated from, you know, mass culture and mass consciousness. You might feel, you know, the weight of the world on your shoulders sometimes, but it's important to remember it's not your weight to carry. We're all doing our part, and I feel like your mind just needs permission to be softer and be more loving, and I think you need to give it that permission. I think this transformation is happening no matter what, but there's a powerful shift happening mentally where the mental inhibitors that you've had are not going to be holding you back as much the more you don't give them as much weight and air as you once did. You know, you don't need collective opinion to validate your thoughts. You also don't need permission to honor the thoughts that are more loving and more freeing to your life and to your mindset. I also think that your mind needs just permission to be, like, I already said this, but just softer and more vulnerable, and look at life and yourself, especially yourself, from a more loving and compassionate lens. You deserve that, and you need that in order to stay rooted and connected to your spirit through this work. Like, you know, and I'm not saying, like, and what I mean by this work, it's inner work. It's the inner work of awakening, and also the inner work of detoxifying and distilling, you know, the ways in which we're conditioned to be, and letting go of that, and forming new belief systems rooted in connection and love and community and service and empowerment. I feel like that's where you're headed, and that's what your mind needs. It just needs more support in that process, but I feel like it's already happening. And I feel like you need to know, like, the biggest person, like, the only permission that you need from anyone is the permission from yourself. That is the only permission who matters when it comes to how you view the world and what you see. You know, the cool thing about belief systems is we get to choose them, and you deserve to choose the ones that bring the most joy and peace to your life. So let's look at what your heart needs now. Yes, we have the Fool and we have the Knight of Pentacles. Your heart needs your trust and also more consistent connection. Your heart is ready for this new beginning, and I would imagine that your heart has been leading you here for quite a long time. With this Knight of Pentacles, your heart needs more consistent connection to the rest of your human system. I feel like your heart needs more opportunities to connect with your mind. And I don't know if I'm the best, like, person to give you guidance on that, because I'm still trying to do the same thing. But I think the biggest thing is like consciously shifting from, like, my awareness from my head to my heart, and really just trying to surrender logical thought. Like, I find that in meditation I can connect to my heart, but also, like, I find it easy to connect to my heart when I'm just doing things that I love, talking to people that I love, watching Deadliest Catch, you know? I'm just like, they work so hard, and, like, I don't know, I find anything can make me cry, man. I'm just like proud of those boys. But, you know, it's not all boys. There's lots of people out there. Okay. Anyway, the Fool. Your heart needs permission to have a beginner's, like, I guess it sounds weird to say mindset for your heart space, but your heart needs permission to be open and new. You know, the Fool is all about new beginnings. It's the first card in the deck, and it's really precious. And I feel like your heart is expanding and awakening in a lot of ways. And it's also been in a process of purification. I feel like your heart is becoming pure and purer. And maybe even just, like, the awareness that purity is not based in this gross distortion around sexuality, but it's actually rooted in what's in your heart and spirit. I feel like the purity of your heart is becoming more and more aware to you, and your heart needs you to support that purity process. And really the best thing that you can do in supporting it is just honor and validate what's coming up and what you're experiencing, and also, you know, not judge and shame what your heart is telling you. I feel like you're going through a very powerful emotional beginning, and your heart wants to lead in this next stage of life. And that may be hard for the part of you that is used to routine or used to doing things a certain way. So your heart is really needing you to integrate heart-centered practices into your routine. So whether that is taking time to do things that you love, to eat things that you love, see people that you love, or just envision and imagine a world with more love in it, whatever you, into your everyday reality, like, your heart is wanting you to do that. You know, if you don't love your environment, what can you do to change it? If you don't love how you are feeling about yourself, what can you do to show yourself love? If you're not confident in the person you're becoming, how can you shift your perception to one where you love who you are now and trust that you will love whatever you're evolving into? I feel like your heart needs consistent connection with you in a way that it doesn't always get, because your mind runs away with you. So your heart is particularly vulnerable at this time, and I don't say that in a bad way, I say it in a good way. Like, but I think that's why it's important to be more aware of who you're spending your time and energy with, because it's like, a negative projection, or, you know, a mean comment, or even an innocent, innocuous comment that you overhear could be like particularly painful to your heart at this time. And it may cause you to like want to shut down and step away from your heart. But more than anything, your heart needs you to honor where it's calling you to, and to pay attention to ways that pay attention to the modes of being that not only nourish your heart, but make you feel good, make you feel new, make you feel like the truest you've ever been. Because I feel like that's where you're headed anyway. A lot of this awakening process is awakening to the true you and discarding, you know, what isn't. And because there are a lot of things we see as us that are just, you know, things we were taught, things others projected onto us, cultural conditioning, social mores, and shit like that. So I definitely think that your heart just needs your patience in this process as well, because the Knight of Pentacles always gets to their destination, but they are the slowest one there. And you've got like turtle energy here, like slow and steady wins the race. Your heart needs patience in this process, and needs your mind to kind of be on board with not needing to interpret everything. It's like, and I guess I'm kind of equating this to like, imagine having a newborn baby and looking at that baby and being like, okay, so what college is it going to go to? What extracurricular sports is it going to play? And like needing to know that immediately when it's like, well, we don't know yet, it's a baby. I think it should focus on maybe care, like getting enough care to be able to walk and be nourished for now. I think just existing is enough. I think your heart needs permission to exist, and permission for you to have time to like process, you know, what is supportive of it and what isn't, and to make more space for it to communicate with you. So one of the ways in doing that is, you know, being able to have a more clear mind. So making friends with your mind and learning to recognize when it's running away from you, so that you can have, you know, systems in place to ground yourself and bring yourself back to earth. Like I feel like that could be very helpful. But your heart is definitely excited for this new beginning. It just needs you to be patient with this process and not be afraid or upset around what comes through, because like I do think that past energies that are stored in your heart space are going to be releasing at this time through this awakening process. So if you find yourself being more emotional than usual, or if you find yourself like randomly crying or anything like that, it could just be old energy that's stored in your body that's being released. So don't see that as a sign that you're doing something wrong. See it as a sign that things are moving. Finally, let's look at what your spirit needs. Ooh, we've got the Page of Swords. So your spirit needs you to have an inquisitive mindset that is open and curious. In all of what I'm saying, you're not being asked to completely get rid of logic or anything like that. But your spirit is asking you to get more curious and be open to sources of exploration that you haven't considered before. Your spirit needs to connect with you more, and I think one way you could connect with it is through automatic writing. I've been suggesting that a lot in this reading, which automatic writing is essentially just like intending that something speaks through the pen, and you like write for, you can Google it, but like 2 minutes, and you just pen to paper, just blah, and then you see what comes through there. Typically you might ask a question or something like that, but your spirit just needs you to be open and inquisitive, and not in a way that is invalidating to you, but in a way that is consciously aware of perspectives that aren't helpful for you. It's clear you have a powerful mind, and we love that for you, but powerful minds can be very powerfully detrimental to changes at times, because we may like push them away, or we may not believe in them. So I really feel like your spirit needs you to be more open to sources of knowledge that you haven't explored before, and it also needs you to have a beginner's mindset about what you're experiencing and going through, because even if you've gone through awakenings in the past, even if you've been on a spiritual path, or you've been, you know, in this position, this time is different. They're all different, right? But it doesn't matter how long you've been doing something or experiencing something. A beginner's mindset can be really helpful. And I think that more than anything, your spirit needs you to trust in where it's guiding you and where it's leading you. And as you see the wisdom and how it's working, you will start to trust in it more. And naturally, I got a visual from Shrek for this, but if the scene where they're going to save Fiona from the Dragon's Keep, and they're on that rickety bridge, and Donkey's like, I'm not going on there, like, I can't do that, and he's absolutely terrified. And so then Shrek, like, kind of gets him on the bridge, and then basically is just scaring the shit out of him the whole time until he reaches the other side. That's kind of like what you're going through if the universe is Shrek and you are Donkey. You'll make it, I promise. But think about it. Do you think Donkey would have gone to the other side if Shrek was just like, okay, Donkey, like, we need to do this? Like, no, it wouldn't have happened. So, it also probably wouldn't have made the movie any better. But the universe kind of needs you to trust in its wisdom, and your spirit needs you to be more open to, like, if you are someone who is very inquisitive and likes reading and learning, start focusing your attention in that way on sources you haven't explored before, or spiritual things that are calling to you. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be spiritual, but, like, you know, energetic, anything. I guess really anything that calls you, because everything is spiritual, because everything is one, right? But I hope this reading makes sense. I feel deep in the channeling process. So, like, I don't know if I am even saying things that make sense, but I hope it does. I imagine it does if you're still here, so thank you. But now I'm going to take this deck and we're going to get guidance for each aspect of self. So, Spirit, what guidance do you have for pile 4 when it comes to taking care of their body's needs? Oh, and also, with this Page of Swords, your spirit needs the opportunity. Like, I think your spirit wants to communicate to you through, like, words and books and just sources of knowledge that will not only be interesting and inspiring for you, but also allow you to realize, like, the universe is listening even when I don't realize it. So anyway, we have the sacral chakra with nurturing. The trigger statement is, it's all in my head, and the true statement is, I create with pleasure. Take time to rest, and in that time, be open to creative pursuits. Surround yourself with things that please your senses, and be gentle with yourself. Yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward. Like, your body just needs that time, and needs time for you to be with it, and nurture it, and care for it. But what about their mind, Spirit? What does pile 4's mind need at this time? Yes, motivation. The trigger statement is, I don't know where to start, and the true statement is, I take action now. You will find clarity and the ability to create now. This is your time to make things happen. So I definitely think the more you give yourself permission to do things because they excite you, do things because they feel good, the more you will understand the value in that. And I can't say what that value will be. I mean, I think there's inherent value in doing things that you love, but you might have really interesting insights in the process. Okay, what does pile 4's heart need at this time, Spirit? We have the crown chakra with transmutation. The trigger statement is, I don't know who I am, and the true statement is, I am. There is no efforting required for this shift. Be present and allow every aspect of your being to transform. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what this Knight of Pentacles is speaking to. Like, your heart just needs you to kind of trust where it's leading you, but also to trust that even if you don't consciously see change or don't consciously know that you're changing, you are. And even within the process of change, it's very normal to, you know, go back and do things that we used to do or fall back into old ways of being. And that's not something to shame yourself for. It's if anything, all you should think is, oh, how human of me, because that is human of you. But finally, what does pile 4's spirit need at this time? We have evolution. The trigger statement is, things will never change. And the true statement is, I attract only what is for my highest good. The imbalances in relationships that have been keeping you down are no longer needed. You are ready to transform. So I definitely think that if your spirit is needing you to kind of let go of people and situations that are very small-minded or constricting to your own consciousness, I think you know, you're being given permission to do whatever you need to do. I won't give you exact guidance on that, but you are growing and evolving, and I think that current or past belief systems, past, you know, things you used to base your awareness on, may not do it anymore, may not cut it. So you may need permission to just be open to people, experiences, especially like books and materials like that, and see what they have for you. But on the bottom of the deck, we have balance, with the trigger statement being, no one understands me, and the true statement being, I ask for what I need. From a place of love, you need to stand up and speak your truth. What you wish for is what the universe wishes for you. And I feel like this is where you're headed in a lot of ways. But also, like, you're doing great. There's nothing you need to beat yourself up for. There's nothing you need to be afraid of. You just need to be willing to surrender and trust the process that you're currently going through. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with a guidance card from, I think it's called Wings of Wisdom, but beloved spirit, the spirit that loves our beloved pile fours, what guidance do you have for them at this time that you would like to leave them with? What could be aligned with their highest good at this time? Ooh, we got Griffin. Griffins are cool. Shout out to the Griffins out there. We've got loyalty, power of the good, and light bearer. I trust in the ferociously loving power of divine goodness. And it says, goodness does not need you to be super nice or a doormat. You can be kind, but you can also be a divine badass living with integrity, courage, and truth. Ask the universe for help sorting out any issues you are experiencing so that you can learn from them without losing yourself to them. Trust in the power of divine justice. You do not have to understand the workings of the universe to know karma works out all things according to higher wisdom and timing. You can guide others with wisdom even when you integrate your You can guide others with wisdom when you integrate your physical and spiritual realities. Be loyal to your values and the truth. And I think that's what you're doing. And I think you're doing great, my dude. I think you just need to keep continuing to trust that process. And I'm wishing you the best. I hope that everything works out. And if you need to talk, feel free to open up in the comments section. You know, like you guys are so awesome and supportive of each other in there. And I love hearing your guys' story. So feel free to do that. But pile 4, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, because that was one of the simplest and easiest ways to show support for me and appreciation for my channel. Though, if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my candles, you can check out my merch. Oh, be sure to use code 10 for 10% off. You can check out my social media. And you can check out other videos, especially ones with extendeds. But oh, and shout out to my notification squad. You can also like and subscribe. That's very helpful. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night, whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye.